What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Geek Mense. Shoot to the shoot. I am here with Clyde once more, man. Episode 10. Oh my
10.
gosh. Oh my gosh. 10 episodes, man. We a fully serialized podcast. YouTube, start showing us more.
Hey, right, dude? Nah. Like, again, people just need to like and subscribe, push all the buttons,
Yeah,
notifications, all that stuff. Yeah, but
yeah.
10 episodes. I know we spoke about doing something special for 10 episodes, but with Comic Con coming to Cape Town and the Cape Town International Art Festival, um, I think when we do our special episode after that, it will be more impactful, I suppose.
Subscribe for that because we got some heat coming. Yeah, I've been actually telling a lot of the people who follow me on Instagram and all of that stuff. They've actually been checking out some of the stuff as well, some of my American counterparts.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, having them pronounce Mensa was fun because they couldn't they were they were not they were not winning. But yeah, they like the stuff as well. And I've been telling them that you're a local comic book legend and that they need to follow you. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they actually jump on it.
I'm right now. I'm hustling. I'm trying to get into Warner Brothers. I want to work on Animaniacs. Probably not gonna happen.
Hey,
Probably not gonna happen. But you gotta push that hustle.
never say never.
Never say never.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, like there's a like the guys who are following me and all of that stuff. They not that they have pull or anything, but they do get things moving, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see. I hope that they do because also you've got like quality content. It's not like I'm just saying follow this guy to follow this guy. You've actually got stuff. So
we
um and you are a local comic book legend. Like I don't think you underestimate the impact that you've had.
a
And I will say
legend,
this
a
until my
legend.
dying breath.
Eh.
Yes,
I did
yes,
have I did have a
yeah. Take it.
superstar reach out to me lately. Tuso
I'm just saying. I'm
Humbedu.
just saying. You must accept your flowers. You must brag. We don't South African content creators. We don't brag enough. I don't think. Like that's one thing. I don't like Casper. I'm not a huge fan of Casper, but I'm a fan of his confidence.
Yeah,
Like I like his confidence, and I think people do need more of that, especially.
yeah. I like yeah, like
His,
same can be said
his
for like
music is his music is it's okay.
yeah. Same can be said for like AK and maybe Youngster, but I like the music. I gotta say,
Yeah. Young Kapstad, I do like him a lot. I like
yeah.
him a lot. But well, this is not a music podcast at the moment. So right now we got to be talking about the one. You know who it is. The trailer has just dropped as of this recording. So one thing I got to start doing is start saying as of this recording because I keep recording these things like I'm going to edit them the same day, and that's not going to happen. So
as, as of this recording, the Matrix trailer
yes,
just dropped. Tom
yeah,
Tom is
yeah,
back. Mr.
yeah.
Anderson.
Yeah. Oh, he was Tom.
Mm.
I thought they changed his name. I forgot that he was
Yeah,
Tom.
he
Yeah,
was
man.
Tom and or Thomas Anderson. Tom Anderson.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's back in the Matrix, and that means that they lost in the last trilogy, right? Like at the end of the movie, they lost to the machine.
They made a truce with the machines in Zion.
Oh,
Yeah. So in Zion, I
yeah. It's
think
been a while since I
in
watched. It's
yeah,
been a while since I watched those
if I
movies.
remember
I'm gonna be
correctly,
honest.
like the last scene was that Neo and Agent Smith were able to manifest outside of the Matrix. So Agent Smith
Yeah,
put his consciousness into that other dude. I can't remember his name. And Neo was able to see, even though he was in Zion, even though he was like outside of the Matrix, unplugged. He could, he like his, I think his eye, yeah, his eyes got burned out or something.
yeah. Like that. That was horrible.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then he sacrificed himself, like he let off this burst or something, and he sacrificed himself to the machines, and the machines like kind of took him, like with his shaved head. I remember that
Yeah.
scene. There was like a scene where he went back and like all these sentinel arms or whatever went around him, and then we assumed he died, or I assumed he died. So it's weird that he's back in this trailer.
Yeah, so I'm just saying then, like that was the worst ending then because they didn't win.
Yeah,
Like they didn't beat the machines.
they didn't
Like
beat the machines, but they did make a truce. Like the machines left Zion. They left the human encampment. I don't think the human batteries or the human conscious, the other humans got unplugged, but the people who were unplugged were left alone. And so that was like
but
a
that's basically
semi
so they
victory.
basically just went back to the beginning. Like that's basically the beginning of the Matrix is the Zion and Cameron was left
Yeah,
alone, and at the end of the Matrix,
I think the conclusion came that if people chose to exit the matrix, like the blue and red pill question, if you chose to know more, to be enlightened, you could leave, and if you chose to just continue your life, they'd be allowed to continue. And so um, people were free, or became more free to choose. But I think the agreement was that the enlightened, or Morpheus, Neo, Trinity, that they wouldn't interfere. So people who found
oh,
enlightenment on their
Trinity,
own and wanted to escape the matrix, they kind of explained those concepts in the animatrix. Like the dude who runs so fast, he breaks his reality, and the samurais, the lovers quarrel, where they come into terms with, do they exist here, or do they exist outside of this reality? Would their love exist outside of that? Those kind of moral quandaries. Um, so it was kind of like people can escape if they become enlightened enough to realize that their universe is limiting, and the machines wouldn't interfere to keep them controlled, like with the agents and stuff, to keep order. That's why the program that is the agents exists, or at least that's my understanding or interpretation of the Matrix stories.
yeah, the Matrix is one of those franchises where you're just like you,
Yeah,
yeah,
but I think that's
it is
why it
it
was
is
so what's the word I'm looking for? So well received. Why people all thought they were smart, or why we all thought we were smart when we watched The
yeah.
Matrix the first time, and why so many people try to embody the Matrix, and that where theories of our universe is just a hologram, it's a projection, which scientifically might be true, is most likely true. Um, but where
I
people
don't think so.
but where people started questioning subjective reality, and
Yeah,
and what
no,
it
I
means
mean,
and what it means to be conscious, what it means to be alive. Um, Tom, Tom Anderson, or Thomas Anderson, could have lived a perfectly fine life as the office worker, and carried on his life not knowing any different. Is it worth opening your eyes to realize, is freedom worth the trauma it brings? Is conscious freedom worth the reality of seeing behind the curtain? I always use this sort of analogy with that. It's like, um, if you're a person who enjoys watching plays, or let's a ballet on a stage, right? You're the guy you're a person who watches and enjoys and loves watching a ballet on stage. You see the grace of the ballet dancers, you see the props, you see everything working in tandem, and the operatics. It makes a beautiful show. You're sitting in the audience and you're watching. You enjoy it on that pure face value. But if you become someone who actually knows what's happening behind the stage, if you see how jacked up ballet dancers' toes look, the pain they have to go through to be able to do those movements, how they stretch their ligaments so that they can bend like elastic, seeing the stage hands moving props around in the background. If you know how all those mechanics work, and you go and sit in the audience and try to enjoy that show again, the show is very different for you. You.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, personally speaking, for me, I think I would have more appreciation for the show, just in the sense that, like, these people are putting themselves through this thing for an entertainment to make this beautiful collage. So I think I would have more appreciation for the show because I think that's one thing with like art and stand up and movies, everybody who's outside of that field goes, "Oh, this is easy. You just scribble a thing and you color it, or you just make a construction and you color it, and
Yeah.
it's so simple just to color." And oh my God, oh, I colored when I was in high school and I was a kid. All I did was scribble within the lines, and it's like, no, that's not how that works.
And then
But like,
when you start to understand the mechanics of it, then you start to realize how wrong you were exactly. But then, like, your appreciation has a twofold. One person can have the impression that they're jaded by the show that's performed in front of them, so they get jaded by what's put up there. Oh, that ballerina, or there's a slight mistake in this, or I would have done this different, or you can have someone who's sitting in the audience watching it from a jaded perspective, who's unable to see the theatrics anymore. All they see is the technical and the mechanics of it. And then you get someone like the way you explained it, who actually sees the value in what happened in the background and the foreground. And I actually think the Matrix was, or the concept of the Matrix was teetering on that. Why some people sees the Matrix as just the mechanics, just the binary, but Morpheus goes in and he puts a beautiful woman in the scene, or he makes changes the shot. It's like we can actually utilize these tools and understand the mechanics and use it to our advantage as well. So seeing more than one perspective and having more than one. So your twisted characters are always the ones that, or that's perspective is too narrow-minded with regard to that. And I kind of listen. I first want to hear your opinion of what you thought about the trailer, and then get into my perspective because I have this like not I won't say it's outlandish, but the clues that I got, and sometimes when I speculate like this, I'm completely wrong, but it's fun to speculate, I suppose.
no, hey, no, I love your speculation. Makes this conversation fun. But like, what I wanted to say is first off and foremost, really, with that whole question of reality again, I'm more nowadays. I guess I'm just leaning into like it's a matter of perspective, and in a sense, if you're talking about seizing control of your reality, for me, it's just a thing of taking kind of accountability for everything, whether in my life, whether I understand it or not, just taking accountability for it, which I guess is scary because
Yeah.
in a sense, that's what leaving the matrix is that now you have to be aware of everything around you and it's all on you now type of thing. So, I mean, so I would take the red pill, I think is what I'm saying. But, um, getting to this trailer though, there's a lot of cool stuff happening. So Trinity is back. She might be a program because I remember her dying in the third one.
No, she got
So
brought back to
I
life.
think
She
she.
died, and then Neo brought her back to life.
Oh, right. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, so
Yeah.
that means that she's back. And no Lawrence Fishburne. I'm
Yeah.
very, very, very concerned. I want my Lawrence Fishburne. Like, even if he's just another like rogue program in the Matrix, at least he should make a cameo,
Hmm.
or
Oh, I'm
because I
actually
feel like
reading
he
here.
was.
Sorry, I did look it up. Um, they say Trinity did. I can't remember. That's why I'm literally looking it up. Um,
No, he did bring her back,
yeah, he
but did she
brought her
die
back
again?
while they were in the Matrix, but then she died outside of the Matrix, and then he also died. Neo.
Oh, so it might be her consciousness in the Matrix or
Maybe
something. I
maybe
don't
their
know. This
consciousness turned into programs. Yeah.
might be something like that. Yeah. As I was saying though, I want my Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne need to be in this movie.
I I think he did. In an interview, he did say that he was not part of Matrix 4 in this new Matrix movie.
Yeah, Yahya Abdul Mateen. Yahya Abdul Mateen. He's cool,
Yeah.
but I want my Morpheus man.
Do you think
Like Morpheus was just the one.
so? So the one thing I noticed with like all these characters and there being um like retcons of the characters, is this maybe the eighth or the ninth cycle? Like the architect
Yeah, it's possible.
the architect explains most to Neo that you are only the seventh cycle of the one of the Neo character um,
Yeah.
playing out the story. But every time you come back or every time you cycle in, you come with the almost like you come with the experience and the knowledge of the previous version of yourself. So it's accumulated data, I suppose. Yet,
Yeah, and like the other thing that they were saying was that like he's the seventh cycle of himself because there were other versions of the one.
exactly.
So like I think his name is Seraph or is Seraph. I can't remember that Asian dude with the small glasses
Yeah,
where
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
fight on
yeah.
the table.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He might be a, he might be a version of the one or something like that. There's like a theory going around like that.
Okay, I'm not sure, but it seems that like this is a new incarnation of Morpheus. Possibly the chick with the blue hair is a version of Trinity, maybe, or Mouse, or one of those other characters. And in this cycle, obviously, stuff is slightly different. Um, I don't know if you want to continue because I want to get deeper into this. I actually have a theory that in the Matrix 3, the intention or the twist in the story, and I think they maybe didn't, the Wazowskis didn't have the balls, or maybe it was a showrunner perspective, that the Matrix is like Inception. It's deeper layers. It's not only two layers deep, it's like three layers deep. It's like you have,
Okay, okay. Let me just get through my stuff then
yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah,
think we got to sit on that for a while. The action is looking spectacular. It's looking a lot cleaned up than the original version of the Matrix,
yeah,
and I guess that's just because of the new cameras and stuff like that. So I don't know how exactly to feel about that stuff because it's like this action looks very, very clean. I mean, the Matrix action was kind of clean, but there was a grit to it. So
yeah.
I just gotta see it in the movie. But I mean, we're in a post Avengers world, so we've seen slow motion, we've seen flipping, and we've seen bullets and bullet time. I mean, when the Matrix first came out, they were the kind of the first people to do it like that.
Yeah.
So I guess now it's not as special. I guess so. They really got to
I
rely on the story.
yeah. So I'm seeing that like it's not stuck in the 90s and the early 2000s. Like clearly the Matrix universe is evolving and changing with time as we're changing in time. Like I'd assume the
Yeah.
Matrix world and universe is in 2021 or 2022. When's it scheduled to 2023?
No, December.
Oh yeah, it's coming out with No Way Home. I forgot. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
It's coming out that same week, so Christmas ish. Um, so yeah, then I'd assume that the Matrix still progressed to a world that's similar or practically our world. So time has passed, people have changed, and sort of followed the same path. What you were saying about the grit and the camera effects and stuff, I actually have a theory about that as well. Like this is
Oh,
this
okay.
is my
All right, we're gonna
this is
get to
my
that. We're gonna get to that.
okay.
So, my last thing I gotta say is they apparently went with the John Wick look. So a lot of people are like, they wanted him to go back to his original look. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I don't mind because
I'm chill. Yeah,
I mean, you could just look at John Wick as a version of the one because the stuff he does in his movies is like that's
yeah,
some special abilities. But yeah, and also the air bending of the missile was kind of cool. I liked that. That was a pretty cool effect. And yeah, the scene where he's like spilling all of the blue pills. It's like, oh my gosh, that means that he's being sedated in a sense that he's just been forced to take these blue pills as medicine, which means he doesn't even remember
yeah,
the last movie, which means that either the machines brought him back or because I mean they do a shot where he's like all bald face and everything again,
yeah.
but like he has his eyes, so like it's
The tanks. So this ties into my theory again. Like,
All right, actually, let's just get to your theories. Let's just jump right into it.
so I believe that they're gonna introduce an inception concept, or that's at least my opinion. That
Okay.
the Matrix. Think about the Matrix like your computer. The base software, the most basic version of that software, the gritty. Watch the trailer again and check the color palettes. And again, as a colorist, maybe I'm just speculating or these things stick out to me. Whenever they were plugged into the Matrix, the universe had this green undertones, right?
Yeah.
Whenever they were in Zion, it had that blue and a bit of orange undertones. But in this,
Yeah.
it has a new color theme that's more orange and yellow. That's like a bright, when they're standing on the, when him and Trinity or whoever they are now are standing on that rooftop and they're looking at each other. The world is orange. The camera effects are different. The the way things are shot, the shadowing and scene compositions are different, which also shows like when you were inside the core Matrix with the agents and the fighting and the leather trench coats and glasses and stuff in the early 2000s. That was the Matrix world. When they jumped out of that, when they got unplugged from the machines, and I don't know if it's just my imagination, but the scenes where they unplug, the Sentinels aren't as or the machines don't seem as mechanical. Maybe the machines evolved also over time, but they're not as metallic. They seem slightly more organic. Um, like if you compare Doc Ock's arms in classic Spider-Man stuff and um, Doc Octavia in Into the Spider-Verse. There's like a
Yeah.
sleekness, a more high-techy look to the future version. So what I believe or what I'm feeling, because I thought that was missing in the Matrix. That was the big surprise, and they killed off Neo and Trinity instead to save Zion, instead of actually giving the true reveal. The fact that, or my clue, or all I'm going on is the fact that while Neo was outside of the Matrix, he could use his powers when he was blind.
Yeah.
So what I think happened is that his software, he was like the one or the key to understanding the base matrix. But I think on top of that matrix is a more complex program. And when they go into Zion, that's actually a more complex. So there's actually layers and levels. So when he broke out of the matrix and he got unplugged, he was just unplugged from like a core program or a more basic program. But there's a more evolved program on top of that. It's like the layers of Inception. You jump out of the one dream into the dream closer to your subconscious and even into the dream even more in your subconscious. And I think the three
So
color screens, like even if you look at the matrix patterns that run down in the matrix title screen for Matrix 4, it's got, instead of just being one color, the green and black, it's got green, orange and blue. So I think it's showing like three layers of their reality. So their
so
subjective,
you're saying that Zion is just another matrix
it's
essentially.
another program. It's just one step closer to actually being human. And what I think Neo maybe managed to do was to create a sub program within the Matrix where himself and Trinity, like I think Trinity is a program that Neo manifested because he wouldn't let go of her. And then he reverted his own programming from being the one to being back to Tom so he could live a mundane life, but with Trinity somehow in it. Or in order to keep her consciousness alive or something like that within the sub program. Like he kept Trinity's consciousness alive within, even though her body was dead, he kept her subconsciousness in this program. But maybe there's some barrier that in doing so he forgot himself that he was Neo, and that's why he never met her, and maybe that's why he has to take the pills. He programmed it in for himself to sedate himself, because if he unlocks it, he has to relive the pain of losing his destined one, or the Trinity character.
Okay, so basically he said, you know what? I quit this one stuff. I'm
Yeah,
done.
maybe his body is his body was dead, but in the further layer, their bodies are still batteries. Like, they kind of explain, the deeper you can get into a human subconscious, the more viable they are as a battery. So the machines, if they put a fail-safe, like the matrix is where you live, but if you manage to see past that programming, that illusion of your reality, there's actually another reality where we kind of giving you clues of what's actually going on, but you're still in the machine. So with your resistance and fighting, so it's like we're fighting the machines, but they still actually have, oh, my daughter, they have all these people still as captive batteries in the next layer, the layer up.
Okay, jeez.
I know
Ah,
that's deep and complex and crazy, but like I said, I come up with wild theories. And
I guess we'd have to see. No, but I mean that sounds plausible. So then basically it means that they're gonna have to break through another layer, and
yeah,
then I guess it's gonna be like the final layer where the machines are actually gonna freak out, and
yeah.
then
And the
and
machines
then
might be like bioorganic or something like that. And I think, like, where he breaks out, like the tubes are, instead of being like, or at least that's how I remember. We should maybe pull up, I don't know. We should actually like have clips on sometimes so we can live
yeah,
commentary, but not now. But yeah, it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
like
we'll work that in eventually.
like
But
when
yeah, I
he's
remember
coming
what you're talking about.
when he's coming out of like the birthing or the incubation chamber or whatever, to me the machinery looks different from the previous movies.
Yeah, it does.
And so and Trinity, and so maybe their bodies never died, as one layer of their consciousness died or something like that. Like, I really don't know, but I do think Neo is partially to blame. He's the maker of his own reality. And the predisposed programming, and one of the things why the machines didn't destroy him, or the agents didn't destroy Tom, is because maybe he peacefully chose to be that. And as long as Tom Tom Andrews or Neo exists inside of the programming, the machine won't reboot and create another one. So they don't have to go through that same hustle, same shit again, same cycle again.
Mm,
And now the
mm.
periphery characters have manifested, and now they're pulling Neo back to the same story, because the symbology is there into the Looking Glass, Alice in Wonderland, even the song, I think it's called, it's an Alice in Wonderland theme song. It's got chasing the white rabbit down the rabbit hole, unlocking these things. Clearly,
Yeah,
Neo,
I just hope then it's not a, I just hope then it's not a rehash of the Matrix One.
yeah,
Like they better do something different then,
yeah,
because like if they're just going through the same beats of, oh, he's living this mundane life, oh, there's this guy who's got the pills, oh, he can take the pills, and oh, he regains the power and fights the machines, and oh, now he's unlocked again, and then it's just like, dude, I've seen this already. So I
Dude,
hope that they.
yeah, yeah, go
Sorry,
for
go
it,
ahead.
go for it, go for it, go for
Oh,
it.
no, I'm saying I hope that I would rather lean into your theory. I hope they would go down that route where they kind of find out that Zion is another program within a program, and then basically like Neo gets sick of being in programs, and he's like, you know what, I'm whatever's on the other side. I'm
Yeah.
finding out what this is about, and then it kind of leads to more of that stuff, and then we get to see if there's more to the Matrix than what it was. Like they can start out with elements from Matrix One, but they better like push the envelope. I feel, in my opinion.
But it would also be interesting, is like how we started off this conversation, or at least in my opinion, would be the question of, what if you chose the blue pill instead of the red pill? Some people are perfectly happy in their mundane, normal life. Um, Not everyone is seeking, like I know a lot of people want to know the truth and are seeking enlightenment, but some people choose to be blissfully ignorant. It's the old man Logan or comic book star old man Logan story. You've seen everything. You kind of done with that. You just want to live a mundane life and not be an adventuring X-Men doing all these things. What if that's the choice Neo took? Which is an interesting one because in the first movie, he felt trapped in his normality and he was seeking the truth. That's why he was a hacker on the side, um, and conspiracy theorist doing all that kind of stuff. But what if you're just done with that? You want to just live a quiet life next to the person that you love, type of thing, and not have to deal with the issues of the world. Now, because Neo's eyes were already open, because clearly in this, or at least in my opinion from the trailer, shows that he maintained his powers and abilities. Because the other thing I noticed, he doesn't use kung fu, which he probably didn't unlock or use. And we know Keanu Reeves can fight. So if they're doing like him just doing blasts and not jumping and doing, Matrix 1 style fighting moves, there's a reason for that. Because the actors themselves are competent stunt people and they do have the skills. We know from, he knows Krav Maga, he knows Wing Chun, there's a lot of styles that Keanu Reeves knows now that he can actually, I'm not saying Neo, I'm talking about the actual actor. And we don't see him using those kind of powers. Or we see him using powers, but he uses them very brutishly. Like where do you know you
Mhm.
don't know me, and he just blasts a massive, you know, blast with the I think it's the Morpheus character. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have this theory that maybe he suppressed his own knowledge. Like I was saying, if you the guy who knows the mechanics of everything, you can't sit back and just enjoy the ballet. So maybe he nerfed himself. He programmed himself so he could take the pills. And maybe something triggered him. He ran into the Trinity program or Trinity's consciousness, or these guys started setting up things and made him, because there's a scene where all his pills are thrown on the blue pills are thrown on the drain, and Morpheus offers him the red pill and says time to fly. So they're pulling him into something. He maybe like the Wolverine, the old man Logan story, he gets pulled back into the old storyline, and he reluctantly has to lean or move into it. And I'm getting that vibes, I'm getting that feeling. If I was a writer for something like this, that's probably how I would go about it. I'm probably completely off kilter and completely wrong, but
You don't know. We have to see the movie first. Yeah, but okay, it drops in December. I mean, I'll go see it. I'm because I've been a fan of the Matrix. I always
yeah.
liked the Matrix, but like I will not lie and say that I understood everything because like the last two movies were way too heady for me. Like when we run into the architect and he gives Neo that speech, I was like, what is happening here?
I I actually talking about the architect and the oracle. They kind of showed a character in the trailer that looked like the oracle, but she also looked like the little Indian girl program that Neo met on the train station.
Yeah,
So it's like, so that is also a clue that like programs can have families, that they can have their own objectives and personalities and things like that, and be aware that they're programs. And it looked to me like that little girl, that little Indian girl, became the Oracle or is the Oracle program now. But I'm just speculating.
yeah.
Or
Woo.
maybe she was
But
just a
we'll
hipster,
just
a hipster because she had those square glasses on.
yeah, man. But I guess we'll have to see when it drops December. Speaking of more confusing things and brain melting and minding stuff, Rick and Morty just finished. And yeah, like the oh there you go. He's even got the shirt on. Wubble up a dub dubs. But Yeah, Rick and Morty season 5, episode 9 and 10, as
Yeah.
per this recording, has finished. And yeah, I was surprised by the directions that they took in these two episodes. Again, it doesn't feel like Dan Harmon writing, like
Yeah.
even more so.
I actually felt like um I felt that there were clues in that. Like I don't know if it was just me seeing something when they showed middle-aged Morty, right? I was
Yeah,
getting I was getting Dan Harmon vibes, and then when they showed 26-year-old 26 year I got Justin Rowland vibes when they did that 26-year-old Morty. Like they kind of made
yeah.
him look like Justin Rowland. Like um yeah, I think a lot of the it's still cynical, but the degree of cynicism, I think they're actually letting the character evolve and learn. And I don't know if I like it. I did like the evil Morty subplot. I like that character. I don't know why. Um,
But also like the way the objective that he had, it wasn't like, because I feel like if this was a Dan Harmon classic, I feel like that Morty would have just gone on a revenge spree to kind of just make sure that, like you said the last time we spoke about this, that he would make sure that Rick is kind of alone in the universe and that he has
yeah.
nobody else left or something.
Well, he kind
Whereas,
of did do that, and it was kind of the end moment was kind of sad for me in a way, because it's like resolution. So let's run through it just for people who might not have watched the trailer. Let me just run through it for my own head. So
hold on. I guess we haven't really mentioned it, but spoilers. Did we say anything
it's
spoilerish?
always spoilers. We should probably put it like a spoiler like thing permanently on the screen.
Yeah. I'll sort it out in post. But yeah. You were saying?
Yeah, so it kind of like there's a few reveals, a few truths that gets told. Um, we realize that even though Rick is so he's so megalomaniacal, he's still just a bitter, old, twisted man. He's a broken old man who needed crows to fix him, to teach him empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the plot of the first episode is basically that he doesn't need Morty. And we find out something that Morty's empathy, even though Morty's like gradually throughout the episodes becoming more and more badass, and I think there was a reason for that. I think when Evil Morty said, eventually you all become me. That is the truth. That was what they were showing with Morty becoming a badass, being able to handle himself, taking out whole civilizations. But in the flip side, also repairing, because that's what literally happens at the beginning of episode 9. Morty's repairing all of Rick's shortfalls, all of Rick's hubris, because he goes in and he feels no consequences can befall him. But we also learned along the way that it's because he lost his daughter. So that bit in the previous episodes were canon. This Rick is living in an alternate dimension with a family that he should never have had.
Yeah.
And the fact that he invented portal tech and interdimensional tech makes him feel infallible and there's no consequences to his actions. It also pointed something to the whole Kang MCU universe type of thing, that Rick curated a multiverse where he's the smartest man in that version. So it's very similar to Kang's kind of thing. He's got this infinite, what do they call it? The infinite loop or um,
I forgot.
something like that.
Perfect timeline or
Basically, that's their word for perfect timeline. So Rick exists within his own perfect timeline where all the universes where Rick is the smartest man in the universe, they all intertwined and interlinked. But there's more to that universe. and it was kind of like I kind of felt good for Morty. Like he kind of just goes, "I'm free." He steps out of that timeline. He destroys, he destroys the Citadel. He destroys Rick's alternate versions. He basically leaves Rick alone. Like there's only one Rick, or and at least in my understanding, there's only one Rick left at the end of episode 10.
I guess so, because I mean, all the other Ricks get wiped out. I mean,
And
the
the
Mortys get
universe
wiped
and
out.
his universe gets
So that
untangled.
does that mean that it's basically one Rick and one Morty left in that
No,
universe?
no, no. There were multiple Mortys. Remember, they escaped with a whole lot of Mortys on that ship. There were like a whole lot of
Oh,
underdweller Mortys and a few extra Morty clones and stuff
so
on the
then that
ship when they
but the
escaped at
Rick
the
is
end.
Rick is alone,
Rick
I
is still
guess.
the Rickiest Rick.
Oh, okay. Geez, that changes how I feel a little bit about the episode, I guess. Because I mean, in a sense, maybe Morty is not that vindictive. I guess even if he was evil Morty,
I
so I
think
guess
all evil Morty wanted his freedom, but that evil Morty had already given up on Rick. Our Morty hadn't given up on Rick because he
mm,
turned and he helped Rick out even when he got the offer from evil Morty from evil Morty, and he still chose, and then it's like they use the portal gun, and you realize Rick's portal tech is also fucked up because every time you
yeah,
try to use the portal machine, it kills you now. So Rick, so evil Morty hacked all the portal guns and created a new portal gun because his is gold, his is yellow. And basically, I kind of felt good for him because he steps into a universe where he's not under the subjugation of a Rick. Even though he was the president of the Citadel, Rick still had a one up over him. The only way to escape was to escape out of that universe. And to
yeah.
be
I mean,
that's the
like
only way he
as
could
we
be
said,
truly
episode ten
free.
is the one. Yeah,
Yeah,
episode 10 is the one that has the most consequences, or it has the most things that people are going to talk about.
yeah. And but episode
So
9 has a lot of value, but I think it all went by too quick and it was all too
yeah,
tied up in the anime gag. Like the
yeah,
crows, the crows. Okay, I don't need a Morty as a sidekick. I'd rather take crows. And he was pretty successful with his crows, to be honest. He did fine with his crows. And then his crows, but then he did what Rick does. The first time his crows defied him, he wanted to chuck them away, send them to
yeah,
to that bird planet, and that's where he screwed up. And he also underestimated the intellect and the power of another race, which is a very Rick thing to do.
yeah,
Rick's one problem is that Rick is like Homelander in a way. Every time he makes a mistake, somehow he's vindicated for the mistake he makes. So he never
yeah.
learns anything from his mistakes. And at the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess this season, actually, they just not giving him that vindication. Like
mm,
Rick has been handicapped this entire season. Like usually he's on top of everything. Even
yeah,
like if it's messed up, he's like, yeah, it was supposed to be messed up type of
exactly.
thing. Like a good example is House. Like House, if you watch the House series,
Yes,
like if a patient ever, didn't make it, House would be like, yeah, I know they're not going to make it. Like
yeah,
if House never knew why, he would be so obsessed to find out, type
yes,
of thing. It's like it doesn't matter what the consequences are, as long as he knows he feels better,
yeah.
type of thing.
Or as long as
So
he feels he can justify the answer as within his own rationale, then it's okay, regardless of how
yeah,
bad the consequences are. You're absolutely right. That was a good example. Very good example.
yeah, so yeah, that's the thing with Rick. So in this season and throughout the season, like none of his choices get justified. Like he trusts Morty, it goes sideways. He tries to help Morty in a future planet, his tech is bad.
Yeah,
He gets crows and he thinks the crows are gonna help him on this new adventure. he almost gets killed, and the
Yeah.
crows have to save him. The very crows he was gonna chuck out,
And those
and
very crows at the end betray him as well. They turn on him. They've been using him the whole time as well. Because he put his faith
yeah,
in anyone but the Morty, yeah. But his grandson, who actually loves him, who actually follows him, who feels bad and like a real human being, tells you like you're treating me like shit, but hasn't given up on Rick. Even after Rick
yeah,
threw him away, he didn't give up on Rick.
yeah. No, I mean, like it's a crazy thing because I mean these are all horrible people essentially. Like I know
Yeah,
Morty is 14 years old, but this 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 dude is the most menacing 14-year-old that I've ever seen in cartoons. There
yeah.
is no 14-year-old that is more dangerous than Morty. There's no kid that in
That's more
cartoons that is more
dangerous.
dangerous
Yeah.
than Morty. Like Morty would kill the Powerpuff Girls. Like he destroys.
But it's through the teachings of Rick. Because if he kills the Powerpuff Girls, he's got the tool of the portal gun to go to another universe where he didn't kill them. So because of that, the same thing that gives them so much power, and that puts them on their adventures and that makes Rick the smartest man in the universe, it's the same thing that strips away his ability to feel apathy. Or not to feel apathy, to feel empathy and only feel apathy for
Yeah,
something. I can break something here, but it doesn't matter because there's infinite versions of this that I can access. So breaking one
yeah.
down just means there's another one I can always exploit or do this differently. So um
Yeah, no, I mean like how Rick breaks it down with Bird Person, where he's like, we can go to whatever universe where there's no war, where there was a war, where we lost the war, where we won the war. It doesn't matter. We can go anywhere. And like Bird Person, interestingly, decides to stay in the universe where it mattered
yeah.
because like Bird Person believes in consequences, which was very
And
interesting.
that's the other
So
weird thing is like um the rejection that he got from Bird Person literally stuck with him. Bird Person never claimed Rick as his best friend, but Rick claimed Bird Person as his best friend. And not
yeah,
multiple or alternate variations of Bird Person, always that specific Bird Person.
yeah.
And it's funny that
So I
analogy.
guess yeah.
It's funny
Go
that
ahead, go ahead, go
analogy
ahead.
because when he lost his wife and Beth, he actually chose a Beth and a family to go live with to take on as his family.
Yeah, I guess the idea is that because that's the thing. I think like this season feels different, and I think a lot of fans are underwhelmed. But I think it's because they kind of wanted the same status quo. And I've always said this about like Rick and Morty. Like Rick is Rick is not a cool person. Like this is not a character that you like him because he's badass. You like
Yeah,
him because he's cool, but like it's not even like it's not a character that you should root for.
yeah,
And Morty is a character that you really feel sorry for because he's like stuck in this very abusive relationship.
exactly.
so so yeah, I think them allowing the character to kind of open up and kind of take on consequences feels different, but it does push the character in another direction.
Yeah,
So, because if we got more of the same, I I don't know if I would be happy with that. Like
but
like I a weird space because I think it's the thing of the show feels different, so you feel weird about it because it's not like the same that you're watching,
yeah,
but at the same time doesn't feel different for different sakes. Like it is taking the characters and pushing them further. Because I mean, if we get towards the end of season 4, Rick and Morty themselves were feeling one-dimensional. Rick
yeah,
was always this dude who knew everything, and Morty was always just this guy who tagged along. Whereas in season 5, Morty is way more independent than he's ever been, and Rick is making mistakes, and consequences are happening due to those mistakes, or people are coming in to save him when he can't save himself.
yeah.
So I'm enjoying that aspect of it, I
I
think.
think
So
I
I
think
am curious to see what happens in season 6.
yeah. No, no, I hear you. I hear you. I think
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
think a lot of things happen like when I write or I'm involved with development and things like that, um, personal relationships and the I won't say power, but not even authority, seniority, the conflicts of seniority, like when you're developing something, it shifts. And it's like the show is symbolically showing that where handoffs are happening. It's like Dan Harmon is sitting back a little bit more and Justin Rowland is writing a bit more. So characters are changing and falling into different personalities. And you can kind of see those type of things um, playing out. You can also see um, the writing is affected by people's interpersonal growth and relationship. Dan Harmon was untouchable at one point, and then he had a little bit of a scandal that happened. But since he's repented and become friends with the person, he had a bit of a inappropriate situation that happened um, with.
Oh, I did not know about this.
Yes, 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 yes. It was a big thing, and him and this person that they had there, that thing were at odds, and Dan Harmon went into a bit of a dark place. And then he climbed out of it, and then he redeemed himself, and he came back, and he's got forgiveness, and he's worked with that person again. And like if you know that bits of the backstory, you start to see shit like that raise its head in the whole Rick and Morty thing, where I'm infallible, you can't touch me. Rick is starting to get poked by events, by family, by emotional triggers. You know, he's starting to show his cracks, and then he's starting to build up, but he's building up different. Maybe he's not as impressive as he was. Um, they literally make commentary to what you were saying as well. They do say like, um, what were they saying? Self-contained episodes. That's what we were going for, Morty. You know, like they literally say that
Mm.
in the things like that we were trying to do this self-contained, but people keep wanting overarching tie-ins and things like that. And they call
Yeah,
it out. They literally call it out. They literally call out the
yeah,
fact that they haven't concluded the Citadel of Morty stuff, you know, or the Citadel of Ricks. So it's it's interesting the way it's being like more than it just being a show, it's showing people's writing process, different people taking over stories, different people staying involved, who's got the rudder and who's steering the story. Because all the stories in the early seasons, we thought it was Morty steering the story, but it was always Rick in control of every story. And but like you said, bottled episodes or self-contained episodes, they get boring because it's the same thing over and over. No consequences, no learning curves. Um, but the trade-up is that if you're gonna have a story that has a beginning, middle, and end, the arc to a season, characters have to change. Otherwise, there's no point in having that arc.
yeah. I think because they did do arc like in season one and season two, they did do arcs, but like there was like severe consequences. But
Yes.
I mean, Rick and Morty always dodged them,
Yeah.
like to the point where there was an alternate universe where they died, and like they
Yeah.
doomed their previous family, and then they like just jumped onto another family.
Yeah.
And like I mean, Morty I think even shows Summer the buried bodies at some stage or
Yes.
something like
Yes.
that.
Yes. That's
Like
that's this universe's Rick and Morty. And every time they do, you'll notice when they do zoom out shots of the house,
yeah,
they show the little mounds in the backyard or the patch of grass is a different color there and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, yeah. So
But again,
I
it's
think
symbolic.
I
Like,
think
what's the guy for the end credits? But the garbage, the dude who eats the dirt.
yeah.
Like,
I forgot.
yeah, that's also a symbolic of who Rick is. It's like you're doing this thing with Rick for so long. It's like you said, it's an abusive relationship that you can't stop yourself from doing it. You're better than your circumstances, yet you still let your circumstances drag you in.
Yeah.
For some kind of validation you're getting that no one but yourself can explain, you still end up doing this thing. They're like, you're a doctor, you've got a PhD, why are you eating the garbage? And he's like, yeah, maybe I should stop. And then they call him, and then he's like, like
Ah,
and I think that's the metaphor of real life. It's maybe the writers are feeling we're writing this infallible character, and we want to change him and evolve him, but we're so scared of the status quo of fans and the prestige of it and all of that that we're not willing to change the character as we feel we must.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Rick and Morty is just it's a fanatical fan base. Look, like I'm a fan, but I'm not a fanatic.
Yeah,
There are some people, because there are some people who take Rick's philosophy as gospel, and I'm like, you need help.
but
I am
yeah,
no, I'm just saying, I like again. The nice thing about entertainment is that I've done like 6 degrees of separation, so I can watch a series, enjoy it, and dissect it, but that doesn't become like my reality.
yeah.
Whereas people kind of like people who are not as smart as Rick in real life or whatever, they'll be coming with this nihilism, like it all doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. There's no consequences. It's like no, yeah, do something and watch
Yeah.
there be consequences.
But that's the
So
that's one of the problems, or not the problems. That's one of the things with the show and why the show is so good. It makes people. Let me not say this at all. It makes people who are not really that smart feel smart. Like
yeah.
the gems. It's like sometimes I'm deconstructing the matrix. I feel smart deconstructing it. Maybe it's the inception thing. I could just be an idiot. That could just be like so superficial and so easy to deconstruct and stuff, but I feel smart because I get to say it. Rick and Morty makes dumb people feel smart a lot of the times.
No, yeah, like I'm saying I'm not a genius or anything,
Yeah,
but like I'm just saying like there is this whole thing of people making things a lot like for example, a great example of this was Batman versus Superman. People tried to make that movie way more deeper than it is. Like it is not deep at all. Like people will be talking about, yeah, if you see Batman scars on his suit, it's like a symbol of this, and he's tired of this. That's why he's doing this. And then if you see the Martha scene, that's when Batman realizes Superman has a mom. And I'm like, he's the world's greatest detective. You mean he didn't find that out?
yeah. Why? Why did
Like
you say that name?
that was the dumbest thing to me because I was just like, you're the world's greatest detective. You didn't detect like that's your thing. Like
Yeah.
outside, like that's the biggest thing that makes you Batman. Outside of the gadgets, outside of the martial arts, detection is your thing, and you're only finding this out now. And people were writing essays, and I was just like, man, get out of
Look,
here.
I,
So
I do like that kind of culture where people deconstruct things and put meaning into things where maybe there's not meaning. But another way you also have to watch stuff is like enjoying what's this dude Snyder's other movie Army of the Dead.
yeah,
Like I think even Snyder, yeah, and they thought he was putting smart stuff in that movie, but that was just a punchy kick movie. Like it's like watching, like even when myself and Luisa are coming up with quasi pages and stuff in panels, we don't try and deconstruct and put all the levels of depth in. Sometimes we just have stuff because it looks cool. Sometimes you just want the little guy to punch the big guy or the big guy to break stuff. Sometimes that's all the reason you need. Sometimes you just want
yeah.
Superman to punch Batman or Batman to punch Superman. Sometimes that's enough. It doesn't need to have meaning.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like that's the thing. I think like a lot of the Rick and Morty fan base take themselves way too seriously
Yeah.
with some of the stuff. 'Cause that's what I mean by they take his thing as gospel. Like they buy into like his cynicism so much that when you're like, dude, like they can't just kill a civilization and leave, and then they're like, well, there's no consequences.
Yeah,
It's like that universe doesn't stop existing, or even if a universe gets destroyed, that's still like some imbalance in the cosmos somewhere.
yeah, like
So
you're taking a planet out of a solar system, for instance, or
yeah,
whatever,
so I
whatever.
mean, like, and also, I'm not a huge fan of just tying fiction to real life. Like, I do see correlations, and sometimes stories are inspired, but like, it's not one to one. So you can
Yeah,
relax. None of you have a portal gun, so you can just stop it with the whole. There's
yeah,
no consequences. And the universe doesn't matter, and life doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, no. Rick even breaks that. Like
but
the dude you worship breaks that whole thing by himself. So relax.
the
Is what
you
I'm
that
saying.
exists, the you that exists in this version of reality needs to fucking watch himself.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying. Because I mean, again, like I deconstruct stuff all the time. You've seen my reviews, but I never like, and the stuff that I get upset about, like for example, race changing Batwoman, for example, or whatever. I've got a huge video where I rant on that and race changing Jim Gordon because I don't like that anyway. But
really?
like, I can
I
separate.
actually don't think there's a problem with that in the new Batman thing.
If you watch my video, I mean, we can talk about it briefly. I'll tell you why. But like, I'm just saying, I can separate that from like my life. Like,
Yeah,
that's not, like I realize that that's a property, and they've decided to make a creative choice that I don't agree with.
yeah.
But like, that's it. At the end of the day, then it's like, it's not. It doesn't bleed into my actual reality of things. So yeah, Rick and Morty fans try do that. Separations of things. It's very good.
Separate. Rick and Morty's reality is a different reality. You don't exist in Rick's closed reality because we just learned that Rick created a closed universe, a closed loop for himself to exist in. So you don't exist in that one, in any of those variations of reality.
All right. Just to briefly talk about that, the reason why I didn't like the whole change in the Batman thing, we won't stay on this too long, but the reason why I didn't like it was because like DC just has a notorious pattern of doing this where they have original characters that they never push. And then every time this stuff makes news, it's not because the actual story idea is good. It's simply because they've changed a white character to a black character, so it gives them a lot of free media and free
Yeah,
press. Because that's just a way for them to kind of rile up the thing. Because I'm like, look, if you could have, you didn't have to be Jim Gordon then. Like if this is a new universe with a new story, you could have just had a new detective,
you could have been
and
a
then
different.
that could have been the
But I
end of it.
suppose, I suppose, I can understand the justice. There's other places they've done it, like
I mean, the justification I get is just
what's
it's
his
a
name,
pattern now.
The new Black Batman. Th-
Oh,
That one
Tim
rubs
Fox.
me. That one rubs me the wrong. Yeah, Jace Fox. That one rubs me the
No,
wrong way a little bit.
Tim. I think his name is Tim Fox.
It's Tim, but he calls himself Jace. He's got like this nickname.
Oh, I didn't read it,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't interested.
And he's got a dope backstory and a dope reason. But then, why are you doing like the Azrael thing or whatever? Why make him a Batman? Like his brother as Batwing. Why not just create the OC character out of him? Still put him in Gotham. Still make him inspired by Batman, but be his own thing. They actually did that.
No, I mean, but like that's what I'm saying is DC does this all the time, and I'm like I'm sick of this pattern because,
Yeah,
for example, Cyborg doesn't have a solo series. Bumblebee doesn't have a solo
yeah,
series. Icon and Milestone just came back. Like it's the idea that they don't push their actual diverse characters.
yeah.
The way that they push the race change characters. Like it's just a thing of I know that Jeffrey Wright is a fantastic actor. He's probably going to do an amazing job. And when I watch it, maybe I'll forget. But it's just the idea that it feels like diverse characters, especially in DC and Marvel. It's only if they come from white characters that they can be popular. Like it's never they can stand on their own. I
Yeah.
mean, Miles Morales is a great example of this. We're gonna talk about that Spider-Man 2 trailer. I think Miles Morales is alright as a character, But if he was not Spider-Man, would he be as memorable?
Yeah.
Like
If
people don't ask that
if they
question.
actually brought him in and instead of calling like, yeah, you know, you have Silk, you have Spider Woman, you have like all these spider variants, Scarlet Spider. If he came in as Kid Arachnid, like they do in the one animated show, they sometimes call him Kid Arachnid. If he were to come
No,
in,
but I mean,
but if
I still think like he's still tied to Spider-Man in a sense because those characters are still tied to Spider-Man in a
I
sense.
suppose so, they still
I
feel
think
like
if he was total,
sidekicks. Yeah,
yeah, what I'm saying, if he was totally removed, like let's say he didn't have any, like he has the electric venom ability and he's got the super strength, but he has no web spinning and he has no spider sense or whatever. Like he's got a whole different set of powers
or like
and all of that
he's
stuff, and he's somebody totally different.
yeah.
Like he's not tied to Spider-Man at all. Like maybe he's like like a another version of Electro or something, but he's a superhero.
Firefly
So
or
he's like
something like that. Yeah, I suppose
yeah,
so.
so
They
like
did.
he's like Bolt or something like that, or he's called
Mm,
like Bolt or something like
mm.
that, and they kept the story the exact same. Would he sell the way he sells because he's tied to Spider-Man? Would
Look,
he
you're
have a video
also
game?
yeah. You also have to understand they are gimmicks. They did do him justice though, and he was and Sarah Pacelli, the
Yeah, I think
artist
so.
who originally
Yeah,
drew him. Love her art. I think she did justice. She drew the characters fantastically. She did a great job. They wrote this story great. Yes, he's interwoven with the whole Spider-Man story, but sometimes it does it justice. I like
no, I
I
think good
suppose I'm
writing.
sitting on the fence because I don't know. I'm gonna be just honest. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Some
I'm saying I
certain
think
things about it feel iffy. Certain things about it to me does feel iffy, but other things I do like. I
yeah, no, I'm just saying I don't think they wrote him badly. I think he's still like a solid character in a sense. But when they took him out of his own universe to make him Spider-Man's sidekick, more of those
yeah
problems just began to show. And then I just think that they have this pattern. Like, for example, you were talking about it with the Captain Americas. It's
yeah
a cool concept, but why can't they just make original characters that are as big as Captain America?
yeah
Like, Falcon should be as big as Captain America. You know what I'm saying? That mantle should be as big, but it's just not. It's relegated to a sidekick role.
absolutely
And like it's for me that's why I was attracted to something like Quasi. When I found out Quasi was a thing, I was so attracted to the idea because I was like, this is something new, this is something fresh, it's not tied to anything, it's not Batman 5.0 or whatever. This is a
yeah
whole new thing by itself. And what's cool is the way you guys have set up the universe. Nobody has to be Quasi 2.0. Like there's going to be like different diverse sets of
yeah
characters and all of that stuff. So I want DC and Marvel to start doing that because
doing
they
that.
have the characters, they
Look,
just don't use them.
they
And that's why the Jim Gordon thing made me upset because I'm like, you doing this again?
yeah
Like even Black Deadshot, for example, like Black Deadshot, I was like, Bronze Tiger, Black Spider. You have characters that could easily slot in there if you need a black dude in the
yeah
Suicide Squad. But no, we're just going to make Deadshot black. It's like,
Bloodsport.
okay.
They did do it. They did do it eventually.
Yeah. No, but Bloodsport is better. Bloodsport is better because at least he's his own character in the
Exactly.
comic books and stuff. Versus Floyd Lawton, who's always been a white dude for eons and
And
eons,
the
and then all
funny
of a sudden
and
in
the
the movie he's
interesting
black.
thing is that when this original Benoit, the original Bloodsport, got killed, he got killed by a white nationalist who took over the
Yeah,
Bloodsport mantle.
yeah, but I'm saying original Bloodsport was black, so at least there's
Yeah.
that.
Oh, and
So I mean,
first dude to ever shoot Superman. Shoot him successfully.
I'm just saying, I feel like originality in comic books is the reason why manga is outselling them
Yeah.
because manga it's always something new, whereas comic books it's always something recycled, where it's
Actually,
okay to give us something new. But that's
act,
just my personal
no,
opinion.
no, no, you're right. Manga is always actually a lot of manga stories, like why they all have genres and names, is because technically they're all the same kind of story. But They always find a way, even if your antagonist is the same, there's always something that's unique about each storyline. Naruto, I'm just using the most popular ones. Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball Z. Okay, those are shonens, but um, same story. Weak
Yeah,
antagonist grows, becomes the most powerful person, beats the bad guys. But they do it
yeah,
in such an interesting way. The growth of the characters keep you so invested that you don't care. So
yeah.
you're absolutely right. And sometimes it does feel like DC just recycles the same boring storyline.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, just for me, I want them to push something new. So that's just my point. But getting to back to Miles
Oh,
Morales,
by the way, I
the original
watched your.
Spider-Man.
This
Oh,
ties
sorry,
in
go ahead.
just slightly. I watched your static video.
Oh,
Same kind that touch of a few moments touch on. Check out this dude's static video. It's actually it's a nice eye opener. I haven't read the new Static Shock run yet. I'm a big fan of the animated show, and I only know Static here and there, splattered in the DC universe and the icon.
yeah, I'll say this: the new run, they need to lean into more classical elements. They're kind of straying way too far from some of the source material. They're leaning into more classical stuff now in the third issue, but I need them to push more in that direction. I understand that they want to be different, but they can't be too different, or otherwise we won't recognize the
Yeah,
character.
but
But maybe
sometimes
that'll be a
look,
discussion for another video.
I know as a comic creator,
Yeah. No, no, don't do this.
um, 3 issues in, you're still finding your feet.
Yeah.
I think even us, like by issue 4, 5, 6, that's where we started.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I mean, I'm giving it a chance. I'm not.
yeah.
I'm not saying
As
this
not
is
like
not much.
as
Just
not like anime. As not like anime. 3 issue, 3 episodes, and then you must need to decide. No, no, no. You give it 6 to 10
yeah,
issues.
yeah. But speaking of, let's cover this quickly. Speaking of Miles Morales, because we mentioned him, Spider-Man 2 just dropped. They had the PlayStation showcase and everything, and I'm looking at the trailer. It looks pretty beautiful. I wonder if it's like co-op or if they're gonna switch between Spider-Man or something like that. Because
Yes, that's the feeling I got. Like I feel that your main antagonist is clearly, they didn't say his name out loud, but clearly that's Craven the Hunter who's coming in as the antagonist.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
So I'm saying it's going to be a Craven and Venom story, I think, because it's going to be Craven.
do you know what I actually think? I think Venom, Eddie Brock, if it's Eddie Brock, probably going to be Eddie Brock, is going to be your third
No, I
playable.
don't think it's Eddie Brock.
You don't think Venom's going to be your third playable character?
Maybe he'll be a third playable character, but I think in this universe, the Venom is Harry Osborn.
Is it Osborn?
Yeah, but I don't know if you played the video games. Did you?
I played some of Spider-Man. I played the Miles Morales one a bit more than I played the original Spider-Man game. I did play it. For what point did I play it? Um, yeah, I played it to the end. I played it till where Miles's dad got killed. No, and
Oh
then
no, no, no! There's still more stuff to go after Miles's dad gets killed in the original one, and
hmm,
then like if you get towards the end, you see a bunch of clues with I don't know if you want me to spoil
no,
it
no, no.
or if
I
you.
played, and then Miles, you get Miles is just starting to unlock his powers, or he's just figuring out his powers and stuff. And so then the game switches, and you get to play with Miles, like on street level, certain sections and things like that.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Like you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to,
yeah.
yeah. But
And
that, yeah.
then
So if you finished the Miles Morales game, I don't know if you finished it.
um, where you find out that his friend is The
The
what's his
Tinker.
chief's name? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
I'm saying, like, if you get to the end where they try to explode the city and they have the big exploding thing going on and all of that stuff. Um,
no, I didn't play it. Look, I'm a professional artist. I don't get that much time to finish games.
yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah, yeah.
play parts of
I'm
it,
just saying,
like
I
the
don't know
ins
if
and
you want me
outs
to
and
spoil
stuff.
it for you.
I can't.
I don't know if you want
I'm
me to.
gonna be completely. I can't remember where I stopped playing either of those games, but I know I played both of them. I played, but I played them both on PS4. I played the first Spider-Man game. Can't remember where I stopped now. I'm actually gonna check my save progress after this. And I played.
Yeah, okay, but then maybe I should just let you find out
No, no,
then
no.
because.
Go for it, dude. It's
Oh,
fine.
are you sure?
Yes, yes,
Okay, cool,
absolutely.
cool. Okay, cool. So towards the end of the game, like in the first game, you get a lot of clues because you find out like Harry's in hospital and all of that stuff, and then he's got like some disease. So Norman is trying to help him cure the disease. So then you get to the end of Spider-Man PS5. There's a whole, I mean, Spider-Man Miles Morales. There's a whole end credit scene after you finish that game where you literally see like black stuff like forming
Around Harry.
on Harry because they're trying to heal him. Like it's supposed to be a thing where Venom gets created in a lab because he's trying to be like a healing kind of thing
Yeah,
for
like
us.
anti-venom. Like later on
Yeah,
in the comics, is anti-venom too.
yeah, so but then
Um,
it goes horribly wrong, and I think he's going to be. It's going to be a situation where he's like an anti-hero of some sort because he's
yeah,
gonna.
yeah. Here's what I remember. Sorry, I'm just remembering now. As you're speaking, I'm remembering from the first Spider-Man game. I fought Doc Ock on a roof, revealed
Yes,
the whole time he knew I was Spider-Man. And I
yeah,
remember a part where I get back and I can save Aunt May. But I've only got, they can either take the serum and save Aunt
yeah,
May, or they can use the serum to
yeah,
create more serum to save
yep,
everybody else.
yeah,
Yeah, that that's the point I played the game. That's the last bits of the game I can remember.
yeah, yeah. Then you're at the end,
Is at the
but
end.
like, yeah,
I
that's the
played
first
this a
one.
long time
Yeah,
ago. I'm so probably a
no,
year ago.
I totally understand. I totally understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, yeah, and then if you get towards the end of if you get towards the end of Spider-Man Miles Morales, that's where you
Yeah,
get that cutscene. So yeah, it's probably gonna be like it's probably gonna be like he's gonna be an anti-hero situation type of
yeah.
thing. So there might be some situation that goes down with Spider-Man and Harry Osborn, or with Spider-Man and Norman Osborn,
Normal. Yeah.
where Spider-Man kind of interferes with the process or something, and then it creates a Venom. We'll have to see how they do the game in
Look,
Spider-Man Two.
even if it's
But
Harry,
like they also,
even if it's
yeah.
Harry, I think it's cool. Like I actually do think that's the plot of this. They're gonna introduce a new playable character, and either they're gonna do it, they're gonna nerf Peter a little bit, like Peter with his new stupid face. They're gonna they're probably gonna make him less playable. You probably play with Miles a bit, and I have a feeling Venom might just be your main character, or it would be the way the Spider-Man game worked, where certain missions it switches between character and they'll have different abilities. Like Miles has the shock. Um, Venom maybe has, well, I suppose you have unlimited web swinging in this game. Maybe he's stronger, or has different combos or something.
Yeah, I think if they do that where you can't play as Peter Parker, people will riot.
Yeah,
Like I think video game people will just riot. So I think Peter's going to be the main focus, and Miles and Venom are going to be side characters. And maybe it's going to be an issue where he's kind of having to go up against Craven doing something, or
hmm.
maybe more Sinister Six stuff. We'll see. But
Maybe
yeah, I am excited for
it's
it.
the what's the story where Craven went crazy and he turned himself into Black Spider-Man? I keep forgetting. That's one of my favorite Spider-Man
Craven's Lost
stories.
Hunt. Craven's Lost Hunt.
The Lost Hunt. Maybe it's like a Lost Hunt style story.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have to get a
yeah.
PS5 so I can make more content.
I'm
But
I'm hoping
yeah,
these guys will make it ported because I don't know if I'm ready to buy a PS5 yet. I'm still rocking the PS4.
yeah. I don't know if they're gonna do that. I think it's gonna be a PS5 exclusive
I think
because
we
they want to shift people over.
and they want you to have ray tracing.
Yeah. Whatever that is, and why that's important. Because I just play games, man. I don't look at that stuff.
No,
Like
they
if a
want
game
to
looks
give you
good
the
enough
best
and it's fun,
reflections you can possibly get.
oh, please. I'm not looking at reflections when I'm kicking a dude 50 feet in the air and flipping him. I don't care about ray tracing. But anyway, that's just me. Like other people are losing their minds. But speaking of more Marvel properties, we gotta talk what if. So episode 5 as of this recording, we both watched it and yeah, it was the zombies. So there was zombies things going on there. So what were your thoughts on the episode?
First of all, I like kind of what they're doing with these what if episodes because I'll be completely honest, like I have investment while I'm watching the episode, but I have no investment in the episode. Like I know it's a 30-minute episode or 24-minute episode. The consequences of it mean absolutely fuck all to me. So I just watch it for pure entertainment's sake. And I kind of think that's a cool allegory for what the Watcher does.
Yeah.
Like I think in some ways they're actually like training excuse me, they're training us as the viewer to kind of be like and feel like the watcher. If I could speak to the screen and tell him, just don't go there, leave this, why are you doing this? Those kind of things. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Um, they're kind of training you now to watch it like that because these episodes have this what if universe has. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't care about it. It's entertaining to watch, but I'm interested in the main MCU universe, and I don't feel like the what if universe has anything to do with it. You know, um, I feel that
Oh,
it's teaching.
that's until Doctor Strange turns into Mephisto. You don't know, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm I'm
yeah,
I'm feeling that they're using what if to teach us how multiverses and alternate realities and dimensions and stuff work. And I think the one constant that's going to carry over potentially is the Watcher. Um,
yeah, most definitely.
but but I did enjoy this episode, and it was very Walking Dead because I know the comic books were written by Robert Kirkman from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Marvel
So
Zombies. Um, but like for me, I think the thing with this episode is for such grave consequences, characters are not really taking it that seriously. And like certain characters I understand, but like Bruce Banner was way too chill this entire thing.
yeah,
Like if your best friends came like not maybe not your best friends, but like you're pretty good friends. But if they came back as zombies, I'd be freaking out. Like I would be what the hell is happening?
yeah, they didn't. I think maybe it's a time thing as well because it's a lot of twisted tropes in here. Fucking Vision as feeding Chitala meat to Wanda, you know.
Yeah, man. Oh, I was hot. I was mad. I was mad.
that
I was
that
like, Vision, really?
Yeah, Vision, the most logical character supposed to be in the MCU, and he's like, it seemed logical, and yeah, you are right. Like, I actually didn't think about that, but that's a cool one to point out. That imagine like the other characters you can understand, they became used to this nature of the universe. Bruce is landing here for the first time. Your friends are, you should be more freaked out and crazy. Like, I'd actually like to see a scene where, like, he's so scared he turns into Hulk, but he's just a ball in the corner crying. Because obviously there's part of it like Hulk is his not his adolescence, Grey Hulk is his adolescence, um, Green Hulk is his his childhood, his toddler, um, um, um,
Yeah.
emotions. And so, like in a ball in the corner, like Hulk just,
I'm just saying, for me, that would have been very logical. Also, like another thing that I noticed is that in this universe, Winter Soldier is the most Winter Soldier I've ever seen him.
yeah.
Like where he's free of will though. Like Bucky's like choosing to be that way. Because like the way he reacts to certain things happening, he's just like, yeah, whatever. I cut two of my best friends in half, or I watched two of them. Like I cut one in half, and the other one
Yeah,
got cut in half in front of me,
he
and I'm just
didn't
like,
even
yeah,
shed a tear. He had to cut his like best friend in the whole world. Forget Sharon Carter. Falcon and him at that point in time, they were still like that bickering duo. Because
yeah.
this would have been around about the Civil War. No, this was after Civil War.
No, this is Endgame. This is a Infinity War.
This would be
Infinity War.
Infinity War, yes. They were still kind of bickering and this back and forth. It hasn't transgressed to the whole, who's going to be Captain America type thing yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But what's her name cut him in half, wasn't it? The
No, no,
girl
no.
he
He
said,
cut.
yeah,
Oh yeah, no.
Okuya.
Okoye
Okoye,
cut him
which
in
is
half.
also funny that she's in this episode because she's Michonne in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of
References,
cool. That's kind of cool. That's like a
references.
cool tie-in type of thing, and it's based on Robert Kirkman. It's kind of dope for me. Um, yeah, no. Yeah, he should have shed a tear, and he also had that moment. He's like, looks like this is the end of the line, and throughout the like Captain America stuff, when Bucky and Cap were together, he always told him, "We'll be together till the end of the line," type of thing.
Yeah, like, but I guess maybe it's just a response to the universe being filled with zombies and
Yeah,
everybody. Like, I guess it's just maybe PTSD and stuff.
they become
Like,
cold.
I don't think they
Okay.
just did that to do that. I think it was like because also towards the end he kind of gets very suicidal and he tries to shoot bullets at a zombified Wanda. And I was just like, what was the plan there? Like
What
this
was he
shit.
supposed to do? Throw his adamantium, I mean vibranium arm at her? Just yay!
Yeah, no, he had a shield. He had a shield, but I'm like, Bucky has no means of taking Wanda on. Like this is
Yeah.
literally like a sacrifice. And then also Vision. Like Vision made me mad because first off, he's trapping people. And then
Yeah.
second of all, when he has like his whole moral conundrum fix, I have to atone. Maybe zap the zombies before you kill yourself. Maybe just give us some
Unlock
room
the
to
power
escape.
of the Mind Stone. Like you literally, like, I need to atone, but that means that zombies are gonna eat you, motherfuckers, as well. It's like I'll just deactivate the thing that's keeping them at bay, that's keeping you safe. I did like
I was just like,
also the metaphors of hope. This is the second time they use Hope's name as a metaphor for the bigger story.
yeah,
I'm here, you've got hope. The one thing
yeah,
you
yeah,
should
yeah.
always have, don't ever lose hope. Like
Yeah, no, and then the other thing was that was sad for me. Like that's when the like hope really was part of the reason why I started feeling things in this episode.
yeah.
Because also, why did she go into the zombie? That was such a bad move. I was just like, dude, just blast him. Why did you have to expand inside of him? You don't know what's inside there. And then she gets cut, and then she has to, yeah,
Yeah.
and then she has to like turn into a zombie. That was rough. Also, fun
Although
fact,
that
I
gave
think in the
my favorite moment, and it was a funny moment where they shoot the blasters of the spaceship in her face, and she just chucks them with the zombie. I don't know. It was such a stupid moment, but that made me laugh. It was funny.
yeah. Like the other thing was is that this is the first I don't know if it's the first time, but I think this is the first time in this MCU universe in particular that Uncle Ben was mentioned.
Yes,
Because Uncle
yes,
Ben,
yes.
I don't think he's been mentioned in the other movies. So
They did
that means that there
show.
was an Uncle Ben.
I think they did show his briefcase, implying that he existed. When Peter
Yeah,
goes
I remember that.
in Far From Home,
Yeah, I remember that.
so he uses Ben thing,
Like,
but
I mean, I understand people don't want to rehash, like they don't want this whole thing of Uncle Ben getting shot again. But it would be nice to know that he was there because he's primarily the reason why Peter becomes. Because if you read some of those original comic books, Peter was he was picked on and everything, but it made him very bitter. Like it actually made him a very like mean person. The fact that people were picking on him, so
yeah,
it made him very like sour. But then when he went home and he was hanging out with Aunt May and Uncle Ben, he was so nice. And then when he loses Uncle Ben, that kind of makes a shift in his personality.
yeah,
Because up until that point, very interestingly, Peter is very like a vindictive person. That's why he kind of lets the thief go. Because it's like, yeah, it's not my problem
yeah,
or whatever. So he was very much
and
my world is these two people. So like I think that's another element that's been missing from the Spider-Man movies. It's
yeah,
just a little reference to him. Because
he
he has a
does
huge impact on.
he does the Coco move that by respecting someone's memory, he embodies Ben's personality more after Ben is gone in honor of Uncle Ben. So it actually shows the
Yeah,
importance of Uncle Ben. But people keep, and it's nice that you took that approach because most people keep getting stuck on great power and great responsibility, but it's the bigger picture. It's how people often forget how Jonathan Kent shaped Clark as well,
yeah. Like
when
I mean,
Martha,
Superman becomes Superman because of Jonathan Kent. Because before he's actually Superman, he's like, I want to use my abilities and I want to run and win races and
yeah,
I want to be cool. And Jonathan Kent keeps telling him like, that's what you want to do. You're like the most powerful man on the planet, and that's what you want to use your abilities for is to
yeah,
show off. Like yeah, like Superman, the whole idea of him and his humanity and everything, a lot of that comes from Jonathan Kent. You cut that out of the equation, you get Zack Snyder Superman. But
exactly,
anyway,
exactly.
yeah, point
And
being
the
is that
same
yeah,
is said for Spider-Man. The same can be said for Spider-Man. Like you're absolutely right. And even after Peter becomes Spider-Man, um, the he can only be free, and why they also say why he covers his face. He covers his face so he doesn't show people his fear. He doesn't show people when he bleeds or when he's scared. You know. So he's still a kid hiding behind walls because of the way he was picked on.
yeah,
When he's Peter Parker, he still gets picked on. He's not the cool kid in school all of a sudden. He still has difficult times. Just because you're Spider Man doesn't mean you're rich. It's the same thing that they kind of showed in the Falcon. It's like, just because I'm Avenger doesn't mean I can save. I can save people's lives, but I can't save my parents' boat. It's that kind.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
Peter has
yeah.
that same kind of story. In lots of storylines, Aunt May can barely afford rent. Peter can barely help her. And he's that moral dilemma between, do I go deliver pizza to make a little bit of extra bucks so we can eat tonight? Or do I go save these people from a mugger? Like he's constantly has those kind of moral dilemmas and he has to weigh up his choices. And he always
Yeah,
puts
so I feel
other
like
people first
they,
in honor of Uncle Ben.
yeah, I feel like they missed that. And he puts other people first because he let Uncle Ben down. So
Yes,
I feel like a lot of people missed that. So it was nice to hear his name in this universe because I know Spider-Man fans get sick of it, but it's like it's one of the reasons why the Sam Raimi films are also so classic because Uncle
yeah,
Ben in there was done perfectly.
yeah,
Like he was just because like Uncle Ben is funny, so like Peter takes on his funniness, and Uncle
exactly.
Ben is like like there's a lot of like when you actually read him in some of the stuff, like even the Ultimate comics, like you get to see that a lot of Peter's sense of humor and quips and one-liners. It's a lot of Uncle Ben in there.
What's
Like
the other one called? I think is it called Ben and Spidey? There's like a there's like a Elseworld story, an alternate reality story where Ben is like a
what did
Spider-Man.
season two? What if season two? What if
Yeah,
Uncle Ben was actually in the universe?
Ben survived, but he's kind of like a badass dude who's like a vigilante, and his sidekick is like a young Peter. Was it called Ben and Pete? Um,
Ben and Spidey.
I don't know what it's called. Alternate. I read it somewhere, but I can't remember where I read it.
I guess we'll have to look into it. I guess
Yeah, yeah.
another
No,
time.
but for
Yeah, because
for
time
for
constraints and everything.
for a Marvel zombies thing, like I I know a lot of people online. I've been seeing some of the stuff. They've been ranting and raving, and I think like every what if that comes out is the next person's favorite what
Yeah,
if episode or something. And a lot of people are saying this is their favorite episode. I thought it was an absolutely fantastic episode. I still think the Star Lord episode or Star Panther or Chitala
yeah,
was still my
yeah,
favorite episode. I really like the Doctor Strange episode as well for the metaphors and stuff.
yeah. I think this falls for me, and like I think maybe it's my third. It's my third favorite. I liked it more than the murder mystery stuff. I did. I think I just it's just you gotta let some stuff go because like I'm just thinking to myself, how would Wanda become a zombie? Like the way her powers work, she'd be perfect in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah,
Like there'd be no way that they could get her.
how would something bite her? But maybe yeah, like she can just blast things away from her. She can keep a radius
And
around
she
her.
almost single-handedly kills Thanos while he
Unless
has
like
the
unless
stone.
like how they got Cap, like a tiny Michael Douglas, a tiny Ant Man.
Maybe, but
You
I'm just
know,
like, isn't she like cosmic level awareness and all of that stuff? Like, I feel like, but anyway, that's just me in my head canon. But like, yeah, I did enjoy the episode. I did think the episode was a decent one. Not a lot of action though. Like I expected more action. There was not a lot of action.
yeah,
And R.I.P. Happy Hogan. Like
yeah. Look,
Hogan was,
that was also funny. Like I think that was like based on the Star Wars stuff, where they have a lot of trouble with the Star Wars actors when they have to pretend their lightsabers go on or they're shooting blasters. That they can't
yeah,
just go. They always go
yeah,
pew
yeah,
pew
yeah.
pew pew pew. So he's going bam 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 bam.
But it was still a pretty good
I
episode.
swear I'd probably do
Moving
that as
on.
well.
Oh, sorry. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, no, no. That's it.
Oh, all right. Moving on to our another Marvel property. You said you saw it, right?
Yes, I
Like
did.
you got to see it. All right.
Yeah.
So Shang Chi spoiler discussion. We are here.
I was dope. I actually thought like the kung fu was really good. The fight on that bus was crazy. The tie-in, the retcon, because I think you mentioned it in our last talk. The retcon of the Mandarin and Ben Kingsley's character coming back, Trevor coming back, Trevor and
Yeah.
Morris. Come on, Morris.
No, but like one thing I don't understand about that character is why was he on the battlefield? Like when I saw him in the movie and he was on the battlefield, I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like, what's, like you're in the way here. Go hide in the temple, sir.
He's gonna sing Macbeth to them. He's gonna act out his Macbeth. Because clearly that wins over people. He's gonna do his Shakespeare.
No, I really liked this movie, especially for the first two acts. Because Shang-Chi, they basically changed him from Bruce Lee to Jackie Chan. Like
Yeah,
that's what I feel like they did in this movie. Because in the original comics, he's way more Bruce Lee.
yeah.
Like
I
he's like his fighting in the comics is a little bit more intentional. Like here, he's got that Jackie Chan thing where he'll beat you up, but like it'll look like it's on accident. It's a whole like oh shit, oh snap, oh.
I kind of gotta admit I kind of like that. Look, I'm not like we've spoken about this. I'm not so I don't really know the Shang-Chi character. Um, I don't know much about the law and the backstory and stuff like that. Besides, like what we've discussed and briefly what I sort of looked up. Um, but I did like the character. I gotta admit, I do like Jackie Chan sort of style of kung fu. I like the fact that like even though the movie is named after him, when you meet him initially in the story, he's so unassuming, or at least to his friends and people, he's unassuming. He's a
No,
likable
I mean,
character.
I'm not mad. Like as I said in my review of it, I said that it was a deviation. It was a huge deviation,
Yeah,
but like I understand because I mean they've also kind of taken him in that direction in some other comics. So there was a limited series on Battle World where he was very Jackie Chan.
yeah.
Where I mean they give him like magical, mystical kung fu, but like he's not like all aphorisms and everything. He's practically drunk for that entire series. So
What?
he's just doing drunken monster stuff. Yeah, like it was a limited series on Battle World or whatever. And I did kind of enjoy it. Cause I won't lie, I do like the Bruce Lee-ish version of him in the comics. I do like that. Cause I mean I think they're gonna find like a happy medium now that he's gonna get comic books again.
Yeah.
They're just gonna find a medium between those two things.
I
And
think
I
yeah,
hope that they
I think the MCU leans so much on something you can do humor with, but like having like
yeah,
Aquafina as like his sidekick in a way.
yeah.
And he played well off that character, and he's a likable dude. Like if you've been checking out his
Yeah,
Twitter and his Instagrams and stuff like that, like he's a super likable dude. Um, for him to take on that kind of more serious, badass Bruce Lee thing, I don't know if it would work exactly. Um,
no, I don't think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna just stick to this, and I think it's fine. Like I think it's fine. Like I would like some of more of those classical elements to come in, but I
yeah,
know that I'm so in the minority with Shang Chi because Marvel doesn't even respect Shang Chi. Like the fact that he's only got one volume of comics. Like he's one of the like premium characters.
but
He's a better hand to hand combatant than Iron Fist, like
yeah,
pound for pound. The only thing Iron Fist has on him is the Power Fist,
yeah.
and this is in the comic books. I'm not even talking like on the screen and stuff. Because obviously the action in this was way better than the action in Iron Fist, like easily. But like
And we are
like
talk
in
you
the
are
comic
talking
book,
Danny Rand Iron Fist.
yeah, Danny Rand,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
Danny
the
Rand.
the, the,
But
the
like
white the white dude appropriating Asian culture is never gonna be better than Shang-Chi.
no, I mean, like, I just think just the that show was bad. Like, I think just before we even get to the white layer of it, I just think the show was terrible.
Yeah.
And like, if you look at some of the scenes now, you're just like, which is sad
Look,
because I
there
like
were
some of those
some
actors
nice
in it.
moments. I did watch it. I did like Colleen Young, and
No,
they
Colleen Wing was
yeah,
badass. Like, she should have had the fist actually, but because she practically saved that entire season and season two. But like I think the thing is that what's this with Shang Chi, Marvel just didn't give him anything. Like they gave Iron Fist everything, and they just didn't give him
yeah.
anything. And it was just and like pound for pound, hand to hand combatant. He's probably the best in the Marvel universe. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, Captain America, and even I'll say like even Black Panther. I think he's better than Black Panther hand to hand simply because Shang-Chi, that's all he did. Like
Yeah.
Black Panther had to study strategy, Black Panther had to invent technology, and Black Panther had to do this and
But
that and diplomacy.
based on that,
Like,
like if he was a sorry, if he was a Bruce Lee character, then yeah, maybe you could understand that it was just like in anime, like in manga. You have like your Sasuke's and your Vegetos and those kind of characters where you just know this guy's the baddest guy in the universe. This version of Shang-Chi, I don't know if he's the best hand-to-hand combatant. Just from like personality and characteristics. However, with the power of the rings now, because now obviously he's the owner of the 10 rings and he can summon the protected dragon, um, he could be quite a badass, a formidable force. Um,
No, I think yeah, I think hand to hand wise in this stuff, it's been some of the best fighting since Winter Soldier. Because I still do like the Black Panther action scenes. It's just that some of the CGI does let that down if I'm being objective.
and it was
But
kind
like
of
hand to
cool.
hand wise,
It was kind of cool him going like, because I've done these two styles, like him going from Shigun, which is like hard
yeah,
style, to like Wing Chun or Tai Chi, which is like open
yeah,
style.
but that's very tropish though. That's kind of very tropish because it's always like as soon as you open your hands and you open like the waves, then you get like then you're able to trump everything, I
No,
guess. Because
I think the point was, or the symbolism of that was, is that like, um, punch, punching, or what we learn is like, you'll even see when I keep these open because you move faster. You're more like fluid. Like, um, I do fight with a more like fluid style, so that's just naturally my style, like a more whooping style. But my best friend, he's more what you call rigid energy, so he's harder. He block and take hits and blows, whereas like with fluid style, and both
yeah, no, I get it, I get it,
they
because it's
have
the
their
whole Bruce Lee
advantages
being
and
like,
their disadvantages. But
yeah,
because Shang
it's the
Chi comes
whole,
from both worlds, he combines both of those. Oh, that's what I took out of it. And so
yeah, no, I totally get it, I totally get it. It's that whole thing of being water and all of that stuff, and
exactly.
only making impact when you're, you know. So, I mean, again, it's a huge deviation from the comics. It's very different. A lot of the lore gets changed. I mean, it's to make the MCU its own thing.
Yeah.
But like Shang-Chi fans, which I don't know if there's any gonna be out there that are gonna be hardcore like that, because like I was just one of the guys that I knew. Like for years on the internet, I made videos. I think for 3 years on the internet, I consistently made videos about how he should get a Netflix series or how he should get a movie or something. And like there were people in my comments, but there were not a lot of YouTube videos like that. And when the Iron Fist, when the Iron Fist controversy popped off, and people were like, "We should have an Asian Iron Fist," I was just like, Shang Chi,
Yeah.
right here. This is right here. Just use him. It's fine. Don't. Why do we
However,
need Asian then
however,
red?
however, your boy is an Avenger. Post credits, they make him an Avenger. So your boy's an
Yeah,
Avenger. Come on now.
yeah. No, I'm saying I'm happy now. I'm happy now, but I'm saying it's not the character from the comic books,
Yeah.
and I can take it. I don't mind because I understand why they did that. Because if they made him too Bruce Lee-ish, they were gonna run into other problems
But
and
remember
everything.
the cycle as well, eh? Remember how media works now. Comic books will create a character. TV will bring people back to the comic books. So what did you say? It was 40 issue run of Shang-Chi?
Yeah, yeah,
Your 40 issues is going to become multiple runs and multiple storylines. People are going to be wanting to write stories now. People are going to be submitting to Marvel, because now he's been put on the map. Shang-Chi, if I remember correctly, I don't know what the numbers, but he beat out many other Marvel first movies.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's been doing better in the box
No,
office. He's been doing fantastically in the box office. And I felt like, or at least for me, who's like, I like kung fu movies. I really do. I've been watching them all my life. Um, I felt that this was a great kung fu movie that fit decently in the MCU.
yeah, no, I definitely thought so. I'm just saying, like, if there's gonna be any comic book purists who are gonna be like, they made him too jokey, or they made him too. It's like, look, they didn't do anything with this character for the last 15 years, and I know there's miniseries runs, but the 4 issues doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like to me, 4 issues is an insult. Like you at least need 12 for a character because they tried to do a lot of things in 4 issues, and it was terrible. Not terrible, but it was just like
It's
you're trying
rushed.
to
It's
introduce.
rushed. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so rushed. It was so rushed. So I'm happy to for them to do anything with the character as long as like again in the comic books where they're kind of taking him, it's they're incorporating some of this new stuff while keeping some of his classical elements. So I'm happy with that if they can do that. And I really did enjoy this movie. I really did. And
I
I
thought
guess there
I
is
thought it
some.
was a good story about family. I felt that even though like his father is a criminal, um, his father redeemed himself, or at least had redeemable traits. I felt that Shang-Chi and his sister didn't like just straight up hate their dad, which is really nice to see. They still had respect for him. They still, yes, they tried to separate themselves from him, but when he called on them, they went back. They didn't try and fight him initially. I liked all of that. I liked how the characters grew and started understanding more, and how they matured, and there were some really nice moments there.
Yeah, but like the Mandarin dude is scary. Like he's never scary outright. He's never like boo ha ha ha. But then there'll just be like a moment where he flips, and you're just like, oh snap!
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that one moment where Shang Chi is busy telling them, you guys can't march an army into like this village and just destroy everything. You can't do that. And then his dad just flips out and just takes him by the shoulder, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like he was menacing. He was a good presence. Like I actually
Yeah,
like after what happened, I'm actually kind of hoping the character's not gone forever.
me too. Like he was so good. And the other thing was is that he was like as I said when in my non-spoiler when we talked about it on the last episode, yeah, he relaxed. Like that's something you don't see in villains.
But they also had a reason why he relaxed, or why he was like wound up, because it feels like the rings work the same way like the symbiote suit works. How how
Yeah,
how
I
like the
guess so.
symbiote, the longer you have it on, the longer, the more it triggers your insecurities and the darkest elements of yourself. So it's kind of like so nice that when this dude found love or found something worth living, it was like, we put these away. And everything went quiet. And it's nice how they integrated that into what was it, Iron Man 3? What was the Extremis was Iron Man 3, eh? Yes.
Yeah.
The Extremis storyline. How they like, oh, then some white dude reappropriated my organization I built because I went quiet. He stole he
Yeah, yeah,
stole
yeah.
he stole the power my organization had. But then
Yeah.
um but then they also imply that, and funny enough, they were smart enough to set that up in that Iron Man 3 already, that the real 10 rings existed. Because no, that was an
No,
extra.
that was the short. That was the
Yeah,
short.
that
That
was the
was the
short.
Hail to the King.
That was the
Yeah,
short where they
because
kidnapped
that's the
whatever.
thing. People were hot that the Mandarin wasn't in there. People were mad. And the
Yeah,
thing is also Ben Kingsley's performance as the Mandarin in that was good. That they wanted him to actually be like the legitimate villain. Because
yeah,
he was way better than the guy who turns out to be like I understand that whole thing, but he was way better than that. Because like Ben Kingsley was like intimidating as the Mandarin,
yeah.
or like when
But
like
sometimes
we believed
I
it
don't
was
know
him.
why Marvel does that sometimes. Like I was a big fan of the Extremis Iron Man comic book run.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that storyline, and where Tony was experimenting and injecting himself with nanites and this whole um, um, DNA altering procedures and stuff. And then you have this Extremis character who can like turn his body on fire and is burning people left, right, and center. And then they mix it with a Mandarin story. I'm talking about Iron
yeah,
Man 3. Iron Man 3 could have
yeah,
just been an Extremis story.
yeah. I think so. I think so.
But
Because like
I
yeah,
actually
I
have
mean
that
like if you
graphic
look at
novel
something like
somewhere.
Winter Soldier, because if you look at something like Winter Soldier was the Winter Soldier storyline.
Yeah,
Like that was it. They didn't mix anything else in it. There was no Red Skull. I mean, it was it was Winter Soldier and Hydra, but it was like in a sense where it was basically this dude was his friend and he got turned into a super killer
Yeah,
by this organization that he had to take down that had infected Shield. It was basically that story kind of straight. But yeah, the Iron Man 3, they kind of just meshed too many things together. I think. I still think it's a good movie. I still enjoy it.
yeah.
But like, yeah, there is that thing because I mean, even if you look at Iron Man 1, I guess when they tell the story kind of straight, even if they have to chop bits out, that makes for their best movies. Because Avengers.
Yeah, I can see you again. I can see you.
Oh, okay, okay. Woo, heart attack. We almost even done. We so close.
Yeah, yeah. You were
But
saying the what they did in
like,
Iron
yeah,
Man 1 and the Avengers, and you could tell what they were doing in those
yeah,
movies.
like when Marvel tells the story straight, like when they kind of adapt the storyline straight from start to finish, I think that makes for their stronger movies.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, even if you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, or you look at Black Panther, or you look at that, like they kind of told the story straight. So I think one thing that helps Shang Chi is they basically, I mean, it's a deviation, but there are Easter eggs. There are things where I was like, if you're a fan, you'll know, or if you're a fan of the comic books, you'll see certain things or whatever. But like, yeah, they did tell it kind of straight. Because essentially, the idea of Shang-Chi, where he got sent on this mission by his dad to commit an assassination,
Yeah.
and after committing that assassination, he runs away.
Yeah.
That is in the comic books. I do think that in the second one, they got to incorporate more of the other stuff because he ends up working for MI6.
Okay.
Like, because I think they got to kind of take the rings out of the equation in a sense and maybe just give him some pared down chi powers. Because again, if he can do all of that, there's no point in him joining the MI6. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, he joins the MI6. He goes on spy missions and everything. He like gets immersed into this like spy world and all of that stuff. And he's basically forced to do like covert ops with
But
MI6.
do you think instead of being MI6, what they imply here is that he'll probably become like from the end after credit thing is that the Avengers or at least Wong will take the gauntlets and and test it more because obviously yeah, it's strongly implied that which is the same like in the comic books because at least I know that from the Iron Man stuff that the rings are alien tech. And so,
Yeah,
where does
yeah,
the
yeah,
alien tech come from? Blah blah blah. So maybe they take the rings away from him for experimentation. But then again, he's almost like Arthur from King Arthur. He's a person from two worlds. So
yeah.
what's it called? Lao Shung Lao. Um, what's the land? The place his mom comes from?
Um,
But
I can't. I'm
whatever. Yeah,
blanking.
you know the mystical pocket dimension or whatever. He comes
Yeah,
from there. There people can earth bend and air bend. So
yeah,
I'm assuming you'll probably be able to adopt to unlock that powers or that kind of abilities.
yeah. I think 'cause, like the thing is like those rings are way too strong for what they do. So if they gotta tell a second movie, like who gonna be able to go up against those rings? It's gonna turn into Dragon Ball Z
Now
at this point.
I
Like
think they're gonna take the rings away from him and be experimenting on it or using it for something else. That's just my theory. That's
yeah.
my prediction that they're gonna take the rings out of the equation and then like when push comes to shove, you'll get the rings again and save the day or use it as a like an end
Yeah,
game
yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Or when the next invasion happens, or when the next world event thing is happening, and he has to stand up as an Avenger, that's probably going to be the thing that like
Yeah,
allows him to be an equal. But when he's in his own movies, they'll kind of pair him down, which is what I hope they do.
because
But like speaking of
here's
that,
the cool thing
that's what
about
I was
those
talking
rings.
about.
Here's the cool thing about those rings. It's like we were speaking the last time where you give your hero a crutch. And it's the same thing they did
Yeah,
like with the Venom suit. The Venom suit made Superman super dope, but it made him dark. So he didn't want to wear it. He chose to take
Oh,
it off.
Spider-Man, you mean?
I'm just saying Spider-Man in general, where he got the
Yeah.
symbiote attached to him, um, and where I was saying like Flash in the TV series has no limitations because if you could run that fast all the time and the Speed Force wasn't draining him or wanting to suck him in, absorb him, then you could just use it all the time. So with Shang-Chi, maybe he chooses not to wear the rings because if he wears the rings for too long, it has the same psychological effects like it did to his father.
Like his dad. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So
That was also another weird thing. I was like, is her? Did he believe that her spirit was behind the door? So then she
exactly, he believed that
like
that whatever it was, what was it, the soul sucking monster, the
yeah,
soul, whatever it was, the
yeah,
Cthulhu thing,
yeah.
because I think it looked like Cthulhu,
Nah, it was not Cthulhu.
but it
Like
looked
that was another thing though. That was another thing that was kind of we'll get to it now, but yeah, just talking about the dad for a little bit. I did like that motivation. So I guess it was just like her spirit is there, so he gets the spirit back. Cause like he's been a dude that's been able to like persevere through the ages
yeah.
and he's seen all sorts of magic. So maybe like him seeing like yeah, that was not so unbelievable. Like I did like that. So that was I did like his character was so fantastic. That's why like the climax of this movie was so disappointing because he was such a good villain that you guys just replace him with this generic CGI monster. And like when I was talking about in the last episode, when I said they could have brought in a character, we could have seen Fing Fang Foom. Like that could have just been Fing Fang Foom, which at least that would have been something visually to look at
Yeah,
because like the monster that they bring, it's so generic. It's a giant thing that they gotta punch with a superpower.
yeah.
It's not
But then,
anything
but if you
interesting.
bring like characters like, then you have to go into that dimension where these dragon creatures exist, and
No, but I'm just saying, I think that's something other than just having this generic monster suck souls. It was like,
but I do think there's something in your logic there. I think that's gonna tie into interdimensional space and Twin Fan Foom's race and all those other tied elements and thing. I think they're gonna just all come out as aliens and it's gonna be tied into the Eternals.
yeah, no, but I'm just saying, I feel like if it's Shang-Chi, I feel like if it's Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi, sorry, I'm
Shang-Chi.
saying it wrong, Shang-Chi. If it's Shang-Chi, they should have just used they should have just used Fing Fang Foom.
You mean
Like I
Sean?
feel
You mean Sean? Sean.
yeah. No, that
there,
was funny. That was funny.
there
But
were
like
some
I
real
feel like
funny moments and like real touching moments in this. Like even Aquafina wasn't bad in this movie.
yeah, like she was
I did hate the fact that MacGuffin in the end that this chick who's never fired an arrow in her life
I,
shoots the magic blow. She shoots the magic.
I don't know. It's the
That is,
Marvel universe.
but that
We let a
that
lot of stuff
that is
go.
it. That is the perfect example of Chekhov's gun not
Yeah.
working properly.
Yeah.
Because because
No, I
because the time when she was going there and learning archery, I was like, yeah, she's gonna shoot the winning arrow. She's gonna do something with the arrow that's gonna matter.
yeah, I get it. I get it. But like the reason for me why that didn't bother me so much is because one, the first time that the battle is happening, they just say, "Look, you go out there, you're gonna die,
Yeah,
so don't be out there." And then she's not out there, and then the next time she goes out there, like, yeah, try not to die. And it's not like she does anything really hectic. It's not like she's just throwing Wing Chun punches or she's like shooting all of the like Hawkeye style where she's just
yeah, yeah,
amazing
yeah.
with arrows. Like
She
they
shoots
trained
one
her to hit like
accidental
what?
arrow.
Yeah, and I mean the target was also huge. Like
Yeah.
she just had to be in the general area to make a difference. So that's what made me let it go. Because I mean, yeah, it is something where it's like super convenient. Because like if we're talking realistically or whatever the case is, like she shouldn't have survived that battle because she
Yeah.
literally didn't know how to fight until 2 days ago. Like she
Yeah.
like the sensei would not get swiped up by the monster. It would probably be her. But
Hmm.
because it's a movie and they need to bring her into the plot, I get it.
But but they did set up like super compelling. Also, the fact that like all of the Mandarin or what's his name, Xiang Lu or something. Um, what's his
Just
canonical
call
name?
him Mandarin.
Whatever. Because, and like I don't want to even say the racist name. I know they changed the character's name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it was Xiang Lu or something like that. What he
In the comic books, he's called Zheng Zhu, I think, something like that.
Zheng Zhu. Yes, that's it. So the dad, even his men, when they realized the stakes, they changed, they reaffiliated. I like that. I
No,
really
I mean
like
that's
that.
wise. Like I think dumb henchmen is becoming a trope in movies
Yeah,
where they're just loyal to a fault. So
yeah,
yeah, it's like the minute where they change, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
that makes
Because now
sense. They
y'all
had a
now,
right. They had the perfect reason to change affiliation.
because I mean, like,
Like
yeah,
they
soul
prove
sucking
that
monster.
if you what did Chitala say? The best arsenal, the best weapon in your arsenal is a good argument.
Yeah, I mean that was like they literally said your soul's gonna get sucked. Do you want to help or not? And they were
Yeah,
like, "Yep,"
yeah.
because
Your boss
yeah,
is kind of cuckoo bananas at the moment.
no, I do I like that a lot. I laughed at that very hard because that was genuinely funny to
I
me.
also
But
like
yeah,
the I like the Asian imagery, like the way it was represented. I like the way the lions looked because they look like the statues. And I know in Asian, specifically Chinese culture, um, those lions normally are guardians, so they put them up in front of temples and um, sacred places to guard them. They had the excuse me for not, I don't know the names, the actual Asian names, but like I know the imagery that exists because I reference it often for some art and stuff. And the dragon horses and the Morrises.
yeah,
um, because those are, I know in Chinese culture, those are supposed to be like chaos. Um, they bring chaos. Um,
oh,
they
okay,
bring
okay,
disruption. Normally,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
those little things with the
I thought they were gonna be the next plush toy for Marvel because they were trying to sell some merch.
dude, they're
Like
probably
as soon as
gonna
I
be.
saw that,
People are probably gonna
yeah,
buy it. I don't know if I can buy something that doesn't have a face because
yeah, I'm not buying it.
that thing is probably eats out of
They
its
tried
tail.
with Pog. They tried with Pog from Star Wars. They tried with Baby Yoda. I ain't getting it. But
Grogu, I'm not gonna
uh,
sell him short.
he's Baby Yoda.
Baby
Like, come
Yoda,
on.
but he did win
Who
me.
calls him Grogu? Who calls him
Me!
Grogu? That's Baby Yoda. But yeah, anyway, getting back to Shang-Chi, yeah. And the thing is also in subtext, I think what made Aquafina's character also very impactful in a sense, because they're kind of bringing her everywhere, and you're like, why, and you're like, what for, and all of that stuff. But essentially, Shang Chi's personality that we see in the movie that makes him so likable, that comes from Aquafina's character.
Yeah.
Like they subtly, like
They
they put it
play,
in there
it's the way
subtly.
they play off each other. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm saying, Shang-Chi left his dad being this murderous assassin person who maybe he didn't know how to like assimilate and function in normal life. But then he ran into this chick who disregards every Asian rule possible. And she kind of like settles him down, I guess, and makes him this likable
Yeah.
person who will say stuff
Also,
like SHAM
also
Chong or something like that.
she definitely became his substitute sister because
Yeah, so I
his
think
guilt of leaving a sister behind and or almost like adopting or being adopted by another family, where he's got this sister. Also, nice to see a male and female character together and not put them in romantic, believable, non-romantic situations where they could just be
yeah,
friends.
I mean they left it open enough that they can pursue that if they want to.
I don't think
But
they should. And I don't think
yeah,
I don't think they
No,
should.
I
I
don't
think
think they're going to. I think what they're gonna do is they're probably gonna bring in Leiko Wu or something like that because that's like this like that's like Shang Chi's like his main love interest in the comic books,
yeah.
which ties into the MI6 stuff because he meets her when he's on MI6 missions,
So
and
do you think?
basically he like does for her what Aquafina did for him type of thing because she's this cold assassin in the comics and he makes her more human and stuff.
Okay,
So
okay,
they
then
might do
yeah.
something like that.
It's like the Falcon and the you mentioned it earlier, Winter Soldier
Oh yeah,
situation.
yeah,
But I
basically.
wanted to say, do you think because it's because of the MCU, your whole MI6 angle would be substituted for Shield?
Maybe. I hope not, because I think it would be cool to see other secret organizations. Like I like for Shields to be the only secret organization doesn't make sense, especially like the only secret organization that believes they're doing the right thing.
Hmm.
Like I know we got a bunch of secret evil organizations. You got your Hydra, there's AIM, and you have the Ten
Oh
Rings
yeah,
and all of that
AIM
stuff.
exists canonically in this universe. Yeah.
Yeah. They're somewhere there, and
Hmm. There's
yeah.
AIM,
But like,
Shield, and
I feel like
Sword.
yeah, like we got Shield, we got Sword. I think they should have the MI6 stuff,
Hmm.
I think just for some variety in a sense and everything. But speaking of that, we got to talk about Shang Chi's actual sister, and they better have a good explanation for why she is the leader of the Ten Rings. Cause if that's me, I am smacking fire out of her. I am going to beat the wig off of her head. We went through this entire thing where our dad went nuts and he was evil for years and years on end, and now you're gonna take over after him, knowing how damaging this legacy is.
But
You
we,
better have a good explanation.
but she did the same thing that she appropriated the title. So clearly, for her being in Mandrapore, setting up that whole fighting society and that fighting ring, when they show her version of the organization, there's graffiti. She's got the guy who was organizing the fight, and she's got laser fist, what
Yeah,
razor fist, by her side. Um, what would you do? Would you just let the organization like that and all that power just fall to the wayside, or would someone else take it over? She did exactly what Talia al Ghul would do if the dragon had died. She'd take over.
yeah, but I'm saying, unlike Talia al Ghul, she seemed like a sensible person, and they kind of solved their issues between each other.
They might
Where,
solve the issues, but she probably found that there'll be, if she doesn't fill the power vacuum, someone else will.
maybe,
That's what
I
I
hope
took
that's
out of
the.
it. I didn't think she was being bad. I think she just leaned into the power, and she's also not as absolved as Shang-Chi. She still loves her brother, she still loves her father, but she also likes the power of being in control. And she already has a
But I'm just saying, like, if she's gonna be doing Ten Ring stuff and Shang-Chi has to stop her, I'm just gonna be like, we went through this.
or
Like,
maybe the
we
Ten
did
Rings
this.
doesn't become a bad place. Maybe the Ten Rings takes control and whoops Mandrapore into shape or some shit. I don't know.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm just saying, like, if she's evil, I'm like, Shang-Chi, you better beat the brakes off of her.
Because
Like,
because
like,
here's what could happen. Like the power broker, Sharon Carter, could possibly take her down. And maybe that's another story because we know the power broker also operates in that area or in Mandrapore. So the power broker could become a threat, and that could be the next
yeah,
Shang-Chi story, or maybe
yeah, that might be very
Or maybe
interesting.
here,
But
Shang-Chi's
also, if
sister
that's the
goes
case,
missing and Sharon Carter's the bad guy. Maybe she becomes the leader of the Ten Rings as the power broker. Like there's
yeah,
a lot
and
of
if that happens,
possibilities now.
yeah, if that happens, also he should beat the brakes off of her because her whole beef is that she was not called. I'm like, I'm sorry, people were evaporated.
Yes.
Okay, relax. Like there was a whole alien Titan man, and she got what she wanted at the end. She gets pardoned, but she still got to be evil or something. It's just like, all
Yeah,
right, okay.
yeah, good,
But
good,
anyway,
good. Sharon got blown up from the inside in zombies.
yeah, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like I was just like her whole thing of being evil. Like I get it, they're doing something with the character. It's just that I wanted traditional Agent 13 in the comics, and we never
Yeah,
really got her. But anyway,
but you
so
see
great
what?
movie. I still think that it's some of the best action in the MCU. They told the story straight. It's pretty self-contained. Like if you take out the Wong stuff, which is actually we got to talk about that for a little bit. But if you take out the Wong stuff, it's its own movie, and it was a solid entry. And I do want to see more of this Shang Chi because I am a fan of the actor Simu Liu, and I think he did
Yeah,
a great job in this particular role.
his Twitter is fantastic. He's got a great sense of humor. Um, I'm actually enjoying following him and stuff like that. Like his stuff is funny. Like out there
Yeah,
poking at Marvel. Hey, how about putting an Asian in your movies? And then it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
there was like a meme up that I just saw today that was something like that. It's like, how about an Asian in your movie, an Asian lead in your movies, and then and now, and then he's like showing posters
yeah,
and stuff of himself and breaking box offices and stuff. So that's fantastic.
yeah.
Kind of
No,
sucks that you can only see
I
it in the
have.
cinema at the moment, but I suppose there's reasons for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, I liked his tribute to Chadwick because,
Yes.
like, the minute after Chadwick died, like he said something that I believe is 100% true.
Okay,
That
I missed that. Maybe you can
no,
share it
like
with me.
it was just something to the effect of that there would be no Shang Chi without Black Panther because Black Panther kind of busted the door open for actual diversity in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he wanted to tell Chadwick Boseman that before Chadwick passed. So I was just like he's also kind of a genuine dude in that sense that he
Yeah.
does realize the impact that certain things have had outside of him. Which I mean, he's always done. I've followed him on YouTube. I followed him on Twitter for a long time. This is a really cool dude.
Did you
So yeah,
see?
I'm happy that it's making
Have you
box
seen his
offices.
Have you seen his stock photos?
No, I haven't seen those. I need to see those.
Check out the memes about his stock photos. He
Yeah, I
used to
gotta see those. I
he
gotta see
used to be
those.
a stock photo model.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I just think that the third act was the final monster, especially after a villain like the Mandarin and like the motivation that the Mandarin had, that he wasn't like evil take over the world motivation. He just I wanted to save my wife. I
Yeah.
just think that to go from that to a generic monster thing that doesn't even look like anything and is not Fing Fang Foom, which is a missed opportunity to me. It's just like, yeah,
You're all
okay,
right. Yes,
whatever.
it was just a tentacle monster at the end, but it was what led up to that. Like the dad coming to his resolution and passing on the rings. He kind of like relinquishes it to his son as well and sacrifices his own life to save his children, realizing how important they are. Like there was some real like triggering moments. So I can get past the fact that it was just a tentacle monster to be beaten at the end.
No, I mean, for me, that's what made me even madder is that I was like, he's doing this symbolic gesture. It's a huge thing, but he's
Yeah.
like, and I was so sad when he gave it away. Like I felt genuinely sad when he gave it away. But then I was just like, but he like we leave such an awesome character to just come to a tentacle dragon thing that doesn't
Yeah.
look like anything. I was like, man, yo, like if you're gonna do that, because I don't think the Fing Fang Foom thing would have been much better, but I still think at least it would have been like a recognizable, hey, it's Fing Fang
Or
Boom
something like,
versus
yeah,
this.
oh, that's canonical now, or something like that. Something
Yeah.
to get to whet the fans' appetite, I suppose. Look, I hope that his father survives. Maybe this will deal towards him and he comes back more as the Mandarin we know from the comics. You know?
Oh, that could be interesting because
Yeah,
he
like
does get resurrected in the he does get resurrected in the books because they did a huge storyline where he had a brother and basically like like origin, like his new origin is like he was protecting his hometown, and eventually his hometown gets attacked so much that he turns into a tyrant. But like his brother, was this his brother's like the softer side of
Yeah.
him, like keeps him tempered, and then they try to assassinate him, and his brother like jumps in the way, and his brother gets killed, and
Oh,
then Zhengzhou like absorbs a lot of his abilities, and he becomes like the magical monster,
yeah,
crime lord thing.
yeah.
So that's how he gets twisted in the books now. I mean, that's his new origin in the comic books. So like Shang-Chi always believed, or Shang-Chi, sorry, I keep saying Shang-Chi always believed that his dad killed his way to become evil, whereas it started as an altruistic thing that became more twisted
That
and
became
more
twisted
twisted and
as
more
time
twisted.
continued. Yeah, like in this, what if the monster like ate him, but it didn't? It threw him into like a weird, infinite space that corrupts his mind, and when he finds his way back, he's kind of like feral or something like that. You know? Or
Or like he's pure, like he wants something, doesn't know what it is, and he ends
yeah,
up going on his original cycle, but he's worse this time round. And then
exactly.
Shang-Chi has to step in and stop him. I think that would be kind of cool.
But the, it's there. Like we just wrote the second movie. um,
Marvel pairs, Marvel
yeah.
pairs.
But I
Yeah, but
think that would
anyway,
be dope to see, and
I
then it's
think
like,
that brings us to our artist spot, man. I think that brings us to our artist
yeah,
spot.
yeah,
But great spoiler
absolutely.
discussion. Yeah, I think great spoiler discussion. It was definitely. I'm gonna rewatch it again because I was. Did you watch it in 3D?
No, no, no. I managed to get it in 2D.
Damn it!
Yeah, I checked it out here at our cinema at Paro Center. I think it's a Star Kinnico. They only had
Oh,
they had the 2D
mine was a
option.
Stern Core too, but they just had 3D. Every showing was 3D. I was like, why are you doing this? But anyway,
No, I'm tired of watching. Like I told you, I think I watched Infinity War in 3D, and I think it was too much for my brain. I actually, how do you fall asleep in Infinity War? I fell asleep in Infinity War. I
because 3D is useless.
had to go back and
3D
watch
is
it, but I
useless.
think it was just like photosynthia. I think it was just too much overload for my brain. I was trying to take in too much things, and it just crashed my brain and passed out.
Because 3D is useless.
That was the first
I
time,
will
but the
die
second
on this
time,
hill. 3D
the
doesn't
second
make
time
any
I went to
sense.
see it in 2D, and then it was fine. So that's
Yeah,
why
no, I'm saying if there's any 3D enthusiasts out there, I want you to know that Meister Geek Media does not stand for 3D. We don't need 3D. 3D is useless. It
unless it's
ruins movies.
how to train your dragon. That 3D was dope.
Yeah, that 3D was pretty cool. But I mean, at the same time, I'm still like, it doesn't really change the movie
No,
experience. I
no,
don't
no,
feel
no.
like I'm in the movie. Like, I don't think I'm there dodging punches and
Uh-uh.
everything. I'm just watching a
It's
movie.
just a
So,
gimmick.
comrades,
It's a
3D
gimmick so
must
they can
fall.
charge you extra.
3D must fall. hashtag 3D must fall.
3D
It
must
must fall
fall.
now. All right, man. That brings us to our artist spot for this episode, and my artist spot for today is technically it's not an artist, but they are a company that support a lot of artists in Africa and everything. They do a lot of showcasing. They have a website and all of that stuff, so you can see a lot of Nigerian and Ghanaian comics, which is really interesting. It is called VX Comics on Instagram. They have a website that you can sign up to. I think I don't know how much the fee is. I think it's like $50 a month or something, and then you
Okay.
get like unlimited access to a bunch of comics and everything. The art in there is really good. Some of the coloring is great, and they tell a lot of different types of stories. So you also get stuff like albino main characters or whatever, where they have to tell particular stories about their particular struggle and all of that stuff. So yeah, I don't know the exact artists for these books, but I know they're on VX Comics, and the site is called Vortex 247. So I'll put a link to the actual VX Comics Instagram page so that people can go check that out.
Right. Now my artist spot is also a little bit different this time. It's a homie I briefly worked with, but then he completely flipped careers. Um, in my opinion, I think he's one of the top tattoo artists in the country, or in Cape
Oh,
Town at least. AJ Westside. So one word, AJ Westside. Check him up on Instagram. Um, I think he's working for a tattoo
AJ.
company called Tools of the Trade Tattoos. Um, his work is
AJ
absolutely
Westside.
his work is absolutely amazing. We only had a short stint working together. I think he worked as a designer. Um, I still owe him, or he still owes me a session, or I owe him to go to him for a session. I'm untattooed. I only have like one little one. Um,
Oh,
but I've been in the market for like a sleeve or something, and he's like the only person that I trust to do a full on sleeve tattoo. This was a drunk Comic Con pass tattoo
yeah,
at the last Comic Con. I was just like, I need to get something just quickly.
yeah.
um, but yeah, no, no, no. If I really want artistic expression, check him out. Like his art is amazing, his tattoos are amazing. He's affordable and very professional. He is based in Cape Town, but I know he travels around now and then. But check him out, AJ Westside.
All right, I just found him. I just found him. Yeah, some of these tattoos look amazing.
Yeah, no, he's
So
awesome.
yeah, I want to say thank you to everybody for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share if you are at this point in the video and you're enjoying the content. Please drop each of us a follow. I'm definitely follow Clyde Beach for more stuff and all of that stuff. He's got exciting developments coming up soon, like that stuff we were talking about for the Comic Con stuff. I can't wait for that episode, and I
Yeah,
hope you
yeah,
get the
yeah.
team on. That's going to be so much fun. But with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for checking us out, and we'll check you all in another episode, Meisterman. Meisterville, Meisterman. I'm confusing my words. Meisterville
Geek
because we're gonna
Mense,
be out.
shoot the shit.
Ah, peace.
Yeah.